Alrighty, so we have How Bazaar pulled up here, and then so they did also change on How Bazaar. So this used to be what was added was in green. They did change it to blue now. So red means what it was removed, and blue means it was added on. So of course, our boy Mac at the very, very tippy top on the nerf or changes. So Calcinator now goes up to 7 seconds instead of a 6-second cooldown. And whenever you transform a reagent, it now gains 2, 4, 6, and 8 burn respectively. So you do lose 2 burn on each level. However, I do see that it's going to be a slow type of buildup. However, the next option, or excuse me, the next thing that was changed on Calcinator is going to be the thing that I say would hurt the most. So most of the time you would get a chunk of lead for just having Calcinator or Retort. However, now you will need to pay 3 gold. So the new tooltip reads, at the start of each day, spend 3 gold to get a chunk of lead. So it does go ahead and it will also sell for respectively, I believe it's also changed. I think it's 3, 6, 9, and 12. I will need to double check on that. Let's see here. So I believe they did change it as well. I'll double check on it. Let's see here. It's not on here. I do believe I read somewhere that they did change the price on them for what they sell for, but we'll jump into that. Of course, we'll probably play a game with Mac and we'll see right out of the way how that goes. Also, hi, Emily. Glad you can make it in. Welcome, welcome. And so by looking at the rest of this, the Philosopher's Stone was another core part of most builds, especially for the region. So it did get nerfed quite a bit. So when you transform a reagent, it now permanently gains 1, 2, 3, and 4 regen respectively instead of the 2, 4, 6, 8. So it is half regen. So we will need to be mindful of that, especially because we won't be able to stack regen to a crazy high amount. And then Retort got the same nerf as Calcinator did, except of course with poison. So it still gains that 2, 4, 6, 8 on the poison instead of 4, 6, 8, and 10. So it's just a slower buildup. I do see this would probably drop Retort, in my opinion, down a little bit. Calcinator seems to, do quick damage as it does tick twice per second instead of once per second as the way poison does. So you will need to make sure you watch out for that. Smelling salts have also been changed. So instead of when you slow, it is now when this or an adjacent item slows, haste the item to the left of this for the 1, 2, 3, or 4 seconds, depending on if it's bronze or diamond or anywhere in between. And then of course, a lot of the actual enchants on there did get changed as well. So it just got changed over to when this or an adjacent item slows instead of just when something slows. So a lot of decent changes there. I don't see myself running smelling salts as much anymore. However, usually I am throwing something that slows next to it as well. So even if I have 3 items, I'm probably still going to stick them all together. So this really isn't too big of a change for the way that I use smelling salts personally. And then I'm not going to go, there's only a couple left, so I'll jump into these 2. So the pig money tree, fun while it lasted. Smelling salt is definitely a odd change. However, I do see the reasoning behind it, just because of course you can put it next to an instance and it's an infinite haste loop basically, and I can see why they changed it. So either way, it's not going to be a super huge problem. And then of course money tree, it was fun while it lasted. It was a 6-second cooldown and now it's a 4-second cooldown. And then whenever you sell a spare change, it gains 2, 3, 4, or 5 value instead of the 1 through 4. And then the tooltip that everybody loved so far was this item's cooldown is reduced by 1% for every value it has is gone. So there's no more 1-second money trees. And money trees did go absolute crazy. I've seen many builds on Reddit where it was either, a burn money tree, obsidian money tree, or even just a double heal money tree was just going crazy. Seeing people heal for about 50,000 and things like that. Absolutely bonkers. Definitely was a needed change. However, I am glad I didn't play yesterday and have to run into the money tree builds. And then Vanessa Lockbox finally got upgraded. A lot of us were waiting on this. So since it did start at silver, and whether it was gold or diamond, the previous round or the previous patch had it at no matter what, your items would gain 2 value. However, now that you do have, the values of 3, 6, and 9, so silver being 3, diamond being 9, it increases the value of the items a lot quicker. Or excuse me, well, I believe it increases the item's itself value, and then it increases your weapon damage based on that value. So it is nice to see more scaling than just that typical 2, and now it's 369. Overall, a good buff for that Vanessa item. And then finally, this one will affect Mac quite a bit just because of how most of the builds would work. So most of the builds you would use a charge skill, and then the charge skill would go ahead and charge something, especially if you're running a Whaaat build, a femur build, or a potion or a single potion in a specific weapon, maybe plague glaive or anything like that. So now it is, instead of just when you use an item, you charge an item. So it's the first 4 to 8 times you use a weapon each fight, charge another item for a second. So instead of just charge one item. So this does go ahead and dilute what is going to charge, so you just have to be a little bit careful on it. I do see that this is the only skill that they did change, so maybe the potion one for Mac is still there, so a lot of good charge options. I think they want to push things more so towards having multiple items on your board instead of just single weaponing something. However, with a Vanessa build, there's more than likely something else there that charges, so they should be charging each other, but it does say another item, so it will not target itself, and that's going to be the big key word that we need to pay attention to when we play today, is another item, and we need to make sure we get out of the mindset that if it's just an item on the board, we can go ahead and charge it. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into the Bazaar. I know you guys can hear it in the background, and then we'll go ahead and play Mac for our first game, see how our boy's doing, and then maybe switch up to Vanessa, maybe do a ranked Mac run. We'll just see how things go. So let's see here. So yeah, the change is definitely, it's a small one. However, the tooltips in this game are the most important things, and the way that everything is worded is super, super important. And it's whenever you use whenever you use an item, charge another item. So you can't use the same item and charge itself. And a lot of people were doing that with Whaaat, since it could be considered a weapon. You would use Fury of Blows, and then you would technically charge it again because it's the only thing that was necessarily charging. So a lot of people were using it, and so I would probably blame Mac for this build, to be completely transparent with you. It is actually extremely crazy the things people do come up with. So we'll go ahead and jump in with that income, and we'll go to middle, and then we're going to grab a retort. I know we were just talking about the nerf on this. However, I still do think it would be a good option for us to grab, just because we do always, with a lot of the Mac changes, we do get a lot of the items that will transmute other items. So it'll work out for us. And let's see here. So I always do like to grab an early Nightshade. It does help me out personally. And by doing that, it helps, with the PvE fights. If they have a shield, you don't have to worry about it. And for instance, in things like this, so we would be able to take out the Viper because we do have 12 poison going on. And the other two fights are pretty free. I do know if the Fanged Inglet crits twice on Mac, you are definitely dead, so you will need to do some type of damage on that. But since we're going more on the poison side, we're mostly going for the skill on this, as there are other options down the line that do help us out quite a bit. And you rocked someone with Fury of Blows. Yeah, so Flurry of Blows is actually a quite interesting ability or skill itself. I've used it plenty of times just to charge the same items over and over again. It's definitely very, very different. Yeah, it's Flurry of Blows. Oh, so we do brick and we do get the extract, but we're gonna go ahead and hold on to that for the time being. Tomato, tomato, potato, carrot, same thing, same thing. So we do not have a friend, so we can't go to the furry monster. There's not really a really big point for us to do, and we don't have anything fire, so it'll just lead us to Quixel. And then so of course we do get an incense and a philosopher's stone. So despite the new things that just happened, and a lot of people are going to be looking down on this, I'm still going to go ahead and grab the philosopher's stone, especially because it gives us a catalyst, so it'll help us out next turn. And if we get, depending on what we really want to do, we can also go ahead and drop the extract too. But since bronze and silver both give 2, we may not actually do that. And then since this is an expensive reroll of 4, we will go ahead and jump into the next day's worth of things. And then so we do have a strange mushroom, and then scrap salvage, which we're not running any shields. Mac doesn't really have any shield items. And then we have Kina. So more times than not, especially with having a calcinator or a retort, I would have always gone towards Kina's shop, because you're always going to get another. You can also possibly get the opposite. So if you get the calcinator or you get the retort, you would get the opposite one, and then you would just get free chunks of lead. We don't get that anymore, so I'm gonna go to a strange mushroom. Gonna try to kind of plan ahead a little bit, but what I will do is I will go ahead and probably get a small silver tier potion, because if you do remember, we are able to change it over into another item, which we're going to kind of cheat our way into doing this, believe it or not, just because, again, we do want to get ahead of the game, especially with the most recent nerfs. So we do get a spider mace, a little bit of a miss for the time being. We do need more slower poisons, but of course, we still have to get through this fight for the time being. It is a Vanessa. Vanessa is very, very rough against Mac. They do have a lot of burst, and we have now more minimal regen, so we do have to be kind of careful. And Kina, yeah, Kina, peace, not war. And then she's always like, have fun with your death instruments whenever you don't buy anything. Oh man, oh man. So I've definitely been waiting to see where Mac would be after the hot fixes. I was very, very curious, especially as I've slowly ranked up with Mac. I've gotten to about, I think, Bronze 2, if I'm not mistaken, or Bronze 3. And most of them have been Mac games, and most of them have been 10 pieces in ranked. And I find that very interesting because the build diversity versus normal and ranked is completely different. It's kind of a different meta whenever you're starting to think about it. And there's a lot of changes that most people don't recognize. So most people will always go for the win, of course, because that's what you're there for. You're there for the win. And by doing so, they change the way they play a little bit. Now, changing the way that you play isn't necessarily bad. However, you do always want to keep in mind what is going on. So whenever you play ranked, a lot of people like to go either ham out the gate, or they play super defensively. So for instance, if you're playing against if you're scared of Max, doing more burst damage may actually help you out. And a lot of people have started figuring this out and started doing it in, they started doing it in normals too. So it's a little bit weird. Most of the time, the ranked meta is ahead of the normal meta. So definitely don't get sucked into only doing one thing just because you may get actually stuck. So definitely I would recommend to always test builds out in normal, and then once you get comfortable with the items themselves, definitely switch over and start using other builds, or even create other items that you don't think would go together normally, and sometimes you may surprise yourself. That is correct. Yeah, that is very true. So one of the big differences between ranked is that in normal, people can just consistently nonstop reroll for a good item. In ranked, it does stop that, so the run you get is the run you get. And so that's why I like playing ranked as well. It makes you think on your feet, but also do keep in mind the more and more that you do grind with a single character, the more and more you get familiarized with what's going on with them, a lot of their pieces together, how to manipulate certain builds and pivot when you need to pivot. Most of the time I do play a poison build up until about day 5 or 6, and most of the time I do pivot at that point. And most people don't pivot relatively quick. They actually do wait. However, I find if you pivot early, and even if you lose a day or two, especially on day like 5 and 6, that's 11 prestige, or even 6 and 7 where it's 13, you still do have the ability to pivot at any point in time. But if you do lose your, the prestige, you do have 2 more losses you can technically take. Now, if you've lost days 1 through 6, definitely it's a little rough. However, that's an interesting one to get. We'll see how that goes. I might not be able to use this. That's unfortunate. All right. And so it's a bit odd to do certain things like that, but again, once you get familiarized with everything, it makes it a lot easier. And I don't have any haste items. Let's see what else I got here. I don't have too much, so what I'll actually do is go for a small item or a small weapon rather, and I'll go ahead and leave it in the pack for the time being. I was hoping for a spider mace, maybe run into a Poppy Fields build. Again, always planning for the future, maybe at least a day ahead. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself just because, again, for us to get a large item or even find pole, sometimes it doesn't happen relatively quick. So we do have to kind of be careful on how far ahead we do plan as well. And yikes, a long john at 120, that's rough. Ooh, the 12%er. The 12%er, but it is an aquatic item, so technically it is building that crit. So big rip, big rip. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our items again. We don't have too yeah, right at the beginning, like it's all right, it happens. I'm not too worried about it. So we'll go, oh, would you look at that? So we'll go ahead and grab the smelling salts, and we may actually start speeding up the nightshade here shortly. But what we're actually going to do is we're going to go ahead and change this chunk of lead and see what else we do get. So we do get a sapphire just in case we do want to go with a slow type build. And yeah, so as you can tell here, a silver chunk of gold got changed to 6 gold. So to my understanding, it's you spend 3 gold to get the reagent or the chunk of lead, and then it sells for 3, 6, 9, or 12, depending on if it's bronze or diamond. So I'm actually very glad that I was able to transmute that, so you guys would be able to see that. Alrighty, and then we'll throw Spider Mace in here too. I do know we lose that multicast. However, we're not really worried about the multicast too much because we're gonna get another weapon anyways. So again, not too worried about it. And then I'll also throw this over here too, because since the smelling salt change is now whenever an adjacent item slows, if this turns into an incense, we got ourselves covered. All right, and there goes the Poppy Fields. So we may be doing a Poppy Fields build, which is quite interesting. I haven't done one of these in a while. But we're not going to use it just yet. It's every time our weapons do damage. So we're going to go ahead and hold off on it just for the time being because we won't be using it. And then we may actually drop something for an emerald. Let's see. At the start of each day, transform the small item to the left of this into a random potion and then get a catalyst. And when you buy it, get a small reagent. So we will need to be very careful. And we actually may be able to pivot to Poppy Fields already now that I'm thinking about it. So let's see real quick what we have here. So we actually will buy this emerald, and there's a method to the madness here. So we actually will be dropping Nightshade. So we're gonna do a quick little pivot here. We can go ahead and drop down the Poppy Field, and we'll go ahead and drop down the Shard of Obsidian. And we're gonna go ahead and throw a couple of other items out here just for the time being. So we're gonna want to speed up the Shard of Obsidian as much as possible, just because we'll start building poison, and then we'll start getting the Spider Mace going a lot quicker because the item's poison. And since we're slowing and poisoning, we'll just speed up Spider Mace too. So we'll just see how it goes. I don't believe we're gonna beat the Hoover Bike Hooligan. So I'm gonna go to the Frost Street Challenger for the time being. The Apprentice would be another good option for us to jump into. However, I do think that we should be able to beat this NPC specifically. And then if we want to be super annoying, we can always grab Snow Globe and put it right here instead. And that may be just another way to be a little annoying, but also have just enough way to slow them down so we do enough damage. All right, let's see what we got. So we do get Snow Globe, which is kind of funny. And we will drop the Quill for the time being because we will transform this Nightshade here in just a second as well. Given we do get the transform event, which I don't believe we ran into yet. And then since we do still have 9 gold, we will jump into Kina's shop. And so we do have another Quicksilver, which brings it up to gold. So I'll actually go ahead and do that. Again, if we get anything that starts transmuting small items, we'll just go ahead and use that. Easy peasy, makes it super easy, and then you don't really have to worry about it too much. And we're actually going to reroll Kina because most of the time we are playing non-weapon, even though we do have Poppy Fields. But just depending on what we also get, it would be pretty beneficial as well. Alrighty, and then we're going to go to the Mountain Pass because we do need that 1 extra XP either way. And then if we get into a fight, we still get that extra XP anyways. Alrighty. So burnt items have a 5% crit chance or a fiery cutlass. So a fiery cutlass would not be too bad in this specific moment because it would trigger poppy field twice and it does scale itself. So that may be the move if we do get it. This is a little unfortunate because we will more than likely drop the smelling salts and the incense though. So we do just get the ability and I'll grab it just in case I get something up that burns a little down the line. We'll just drop that in right there. And I'll also change this out. So it will give us another weapon just for the time being. We do lose our haste, but that's a-okay. And then I will also go ahead and upgrade our shard of obsidian. So whenever we do transform it a little later, at least it's a silver weapon and whatever it is. All right, so we do have the 3 gold. We are good to go. Alrighty. So hopefully the snow globe helps us out quite a bit. That first Vanessa absolutely tore us up. But looking at it, they are using Beach Ball, which did also get changed. So it's instead of it being at bronze where it hastes 1 aquatic item, it actually hastes 2 aquatic or toy items now. So that is a very good change for Vanessa. So if you are playing Vanessa, do look out for that as well. Oh, we were so close. Super close. All right. So luckily, since we do know max early game isn't too great, we're not necessarily too worried about it. And then I'll actually grab a small item here. I don't have any room for chocolate bars. I do know Mac's really low on HP, and I'm not a big fan of potions, especially where we're at right now. So I'll go ahead and just get a free regen, which is a Venomander. And then we can get another poison item, or we can go into silver tier items. So I will actually jump into the silver tier items because there are some times where you will have doubles in here, and that double does help out quite a bit. And this is super interesting. Okay. I can't believe I'm about to pivot to this. That's actually quite interesting. Okay. So we'll sell our retort and we'll sell our Venomander. And we're going to buy the black ice. And then super odd. Okay, so we have a very ghetto poppy filled build along with freeze. So hopefully we'll be just annoying enough that it won't necessarily matter too much, and we can just slowly get through the fights, and then we'll have poison kind of ticking in the background. That's the main idea here. And of course we'll go against the Hellbilly and see how we do. He does have 1 item, so it's kind of a fail safe for us. He only has 3 active items, so at least we'll see how it goes against a 3 item build. So another good interaction here, since we are going freeze with poison, it does scale our other items a little bit more, and it will actually start scaling up that spider mace. So if we do get a second spider mace, it may actually go a little bit crazy if we can get it enchanted with slow or poison, so then they'll start triggering itself as well. Oh, the Ganjo. Alrighty. Silver skills. Yeah, boy. All right, so I'm actually going to go ahead and go for that crit early on, just because crit early on will actually help us out. And since most of our things are poisoning at some point in time, I do believe that's probably our best bet. And another thing I'm going to go ahead and switch out is to this Obsidian Quicksilver, because if not, if it does turn into the Sapphire, things freeze longer. And then if it turns into a Spider Mace, we just deal more damage. So it's a win-win for us. Alrighty. And then we will go to the Artisan Dunes, just because, again, we will pay the 5 gold, and we're going to go ahead and start upgrading poppy fields through another means. And did I sell? I did sell the Venom earlier. See, a bronze item. Not necessarily too keen on upgrading a bronze item. Medium and large items. So we will go to Barkun just to see what he does have, which is probably nothing too crazy. Yeah, nothing worthwhile for what we're doing at the current time. So we'll just leave it alone as is, And then we are getting to that last fight of the day. So we do need to sell something so we can get our reagent. So we wouldn't be playing the Ganjo just because we're not healing, we're not shielding, and then using adjacent items every 5 seconds for 15 damage. Really, if they attack twice, it's 12 damage, and then whatever this turns into. And there's also more poison. So we get more scaling through poison. We'll just leave it as is. Not too much. Not too worried about it. And let's just see how we do against this Vanessa. It's going to be a very interesting matchup. Hopefully we get a Sapphire. So if we get a Sapphire, it makes the slows a lot more potent. But then again, if we do get that Spider Mace, no problem. So let's see what we do get. So we do have a quite fast Vanessa build once it gets started. And we do get 2 Spider Maces. Perfect. So we should be attacking relatively quick once we freeze. But it looks like we're also getting frozen ourselves. Unfortunate. But we do definitely start scaling damage relatively quick. 1, 3, 2. So it's not too bad. We are a little clunky for the time being. We could start going into a poison-esque build with maybe a Fang tag along. That may be pretty cool for us to do, just because, again, even if we have Spider Mace, maybe anything that slowly does more damage. But I think we may just honestly keep the Obsidian Quicksilver in, because then it'll copy the Sapphire every time. But we would need to drop Poppy Field, so maybe get 2 more medium items or something like that. We'll see what we run into. Alrighty. So the 6 gold is a very expensive reroll, so we will actually skip for the time being, just because rerolling, we're already going to be broke going into the shop. So don't want to do that. And let's see here. So getting a small non-weapon item wouldn't be too bad. It is another chance at a Sapphire or an Obsidian Quicksilver, or just a Quicksilver in general. So we may just do that. Curio, again, we don't want to spend too much money on working at the docks. We do get 2 gold and an item, but we have quite a bit of items in the pack, so I kind of want to minimize how much we are using. And then we do get a crit potion, which unfortunately will get sold pretty quick just because we only have 1 ammo for it, and I don't want to get any tag-alongs for it. And what I'll go ahead and do, since we're just cleaning up, tidying up just a touch, I'll go ahead and sell the emerald, as we won't use it. And then we've kind of gotten away from doing the reagent and certain things like that, because we do have about 3 in our pack and we have not done anything to them. So I'll go ahead and sell the Philosopher's Stone. We won't, more than likely, we won't use it. And the Gorgon Noble and the Envoy. So the Envoy is quite interesting. If we were going for a fire build, and we would start getting a crit, but that would be a pivot, and this is day 5. I don't really want to pivot, so I may actually just end up going for the Sabertooth and seeing if I can get a faster weapon. But I do want to XP max. I do want to hit level 6 before I go into the next fight. So I'll actually go against the Gorgon Noble. We should be a-okay, just because, again, we do enough damage that we should be able to get through, especially a PvE fight. So we do get another Spider Mace, which is not bad at all. Not bad to see. Of course, we're doing a freeze versus freeze off here, it seems. So another good thing for us to get, so if we do get the Paralytic Poison, that does help, or if we get the Petrifying Gaze, that also does help build Black Ice up, along with building damage up just out the gate. So that does help us out. And then, of course, if we do get the Gaze, that's going to help us survive just a touch longer. And instead we get cooldown reduction by 2%, which I do not mind. I actually welcome that. And then I'll go for a silver tier loot item, because again, we're trying to just play very quickly, especially in the sense of everything has a very high cooldown for the time being. So we'll go ahead and sell the Vial of Blood, and then we'll start getting everything's cooldown just a touch lower, which does help us out. And then I don't think we'll go to Eli, and I'm not really too sold on a small burn item. So we'll leave that as is, and we'll go for a skill. And then we do get another burn item, has +2 burn. We'll go ahead and take it. I'm not going to try to skill max too much for the time being, just because, again, I do think we can get some other things going instead. And then let's see what else here. So we can get a regen along with 5%, which isn't too bad. But that is about 95 health. And I'm not entirely sure 95 health would help us. And we do have 30 gold. So I'm going to jump into Kina's shop and immediately find a Sapphire. Beautiful. Love to see it. And then there is a Silver Nightshade in there because I did sell mine, so it's not an upgrade. And then we do have a Frozen Potion here. And then when you buy it, get a small reagent. Decisions. Okay. So I'm actually going to take a Pocket Potion for the time being. And we're going to drop the incense and the smelling salts because we don't need to continue down that path. And then what we will do is we will go ahead and grab the alembic, and then we will put this right next to the moth meal. Well, actually, we're going to go ahead and change that up just because I want to use this a little bit later. I don't want to turn into a potion, as this turns an item into a potion. And then we're actually going to have to sell one of our little items here, because if not, we will not get a chunk of lead. Or we would get the chunk of lead, but we're not going to get the other reagent. Excuse me, it's not even a reagent, the catalyst. All right, a 4.1 can't be frozen slowed. Okay. All right, so that's a pretty nifty little build they got there. I'm definitely filling it, Mr. Krabs. Definitely filling it. All right, so I do believe this is probably GG's for us again. Maybe freeze poison was not the build today. Alrighty, so we do get our catalyst and we do get an obsidian crocodile tears, which we're not going to go ahead and use. I don't think it'd be super beneficial to us, but we will go ahead and use this slow and see what we get. And a heavy shrinking potion, so we still got a potion either way. Going to JJ's shop, and let's see what JJ has. Nothing interesting for the first shop. A regen potion, a bottled explosion, and a quillen ink. None of those really fit what's going on for us. And then we do get an upgrade on the frost potion, which is nice to have, great for just having a pocket. And then we do get the floor spike, which whenever a player uses a weapon, charge it for a second. We're going to go ahead and pocket those just because it's going to help us out quite a bit a little bit later. And then we will go ahead and sell that potion as well, and the alembic, because we're not going to continue going down that path. It's just a cheap way for us to get a reagent transformed. And then let's see, middle is here, and we can't get chocolate bars. We don't have enough room for it. Even if we were to sell an item, I don't want to necessarily sell anything right now, as we do have free money on the left side, and then we do have some items that we may pivot into or may use on the right side. So we're going to leave that alone, and we're just going to go in the middle, see what we can grab from her. And so it does look like we have runic daggers along with a sword cane and a nightshade. Sword cane is a bit too slow for my taste, and runic daggers, we don't have any crit going on, so we don't have the great axe, so they are just a little odd. They do multicast and have 10 lifesteal, but I don't think lifestealing for 20 a piece would necessarily help. However, we would be able to scale that with Poppy Field, so this may actually be a good pickup. So I'll actually go ahead and pick that up, and we may start pivoting away from freezing. And so we do see the alembic pop back up again, along with the refractor and the bottled explosion. We'll leave both of these there and leave them alone, just because, again, it doesn't quite fit what's going on or what we may pivot into. So we do have the Lich over there, which does seem quite scary, because truth be told, he is quite scary. So we're going to go ahead and try to see how this is going to go, but we will not be going against the Lich. We'll instead be going against the Dire Inglet, because he does have a Fang. Fangs are very quick, works very well with Poppy Fields, and then we should start being able to slowly phase out the Black Ice. So we do get another Obsidian Spider Mace, or excuse me, just another Spider Mace, which is great. And so it does look like our build is slowly coming online. If we have 2 more weapons here, I think the weapon spike or the floor spike will be able to go off quite a bit and start charging with poison. And then the spider mace may start popping off a little quicker. And then when you use a weapon, it gains 4% crit chance. Weasel, welcome in, brother. Welcome in. How are you? How are you, my brother? You're going to try to lock in and actually climb instead of doing stupid stuff. Well, I think you're subscribed, right? You're subscribed on the like the pass or whatnot. Oh, that's so nice to have. So we're going to be a little greedy. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. Just get to the have you gotten to the Vanessa pack yet? I think the Vanessa pack is extremely OP. I just haven't been able to get to it yet. Alrighty, does look like we're bricking pretty hard here. Yeah, I do. When you use a non-weapon, that's unfortunate. All right, we'll do one more reroll. Yeah, I haven't subscribed to it, and when you sell a weapon, this gains 20 damage. Huh. He'll equal to 5% of your life. We're gonna burn the boats on the freeze and go for another reroll here. You've gotten to it, but not played it much. I see. Wow, that is like terrible. What are our rolls right now? I'm not using non-weapons. Let's see, you sent me the build that you just got done doing. I know you and I definitely come up with some wacky builds on purpose just to see what goes on. I don't want to sell the retort. What sells for the most? 6. So we do brick on the safari. So we're just gonna go ahead and go for the ice cream truck for free. Free monies. And then we do get another transmute, but we do get small items from Andy. Let's see if Andy can help us out a little bit. Energy potion, not bad. So an energy potion's not bad. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and ghetto rig this just a little bit. So we will freeze 2 items, which will buy us a little bit of time. And then we will have, actually, no, we won't. We're not going to do that. And the only reason why is because I don't want Quicksilver to be turning into something other than the Spider Mace or the Floor Spike, and the retort will just give us more scaling on the weapons. Gotta think ahead. And then while this fight's going, let me see what you sent me, Weasel.
Death laughs at us both. I seek the ultimate secret. Will you get me any?
That is pretty silly, but Wardrum goes hard in the paint as of lately. I appreciate you, Brother Bear. I'm trying my best here. This is my first game on after not playing for 2 days. So we are going against a double Weaselpede, which is interesting. I do need to attack very quickly, though. Like yesterday, quickly. There it goes. Whoo! That 136 burn. Chill, brother. This may work. Actually, this may work a little better, in my opinion, if he were to change Ice Claw out for black ice and then the freezes go off, but also the Quill and Ink will do a ×2 and it'll freeze 2 items, which will scale the poison. But that also is pretty good though, because the Icy Quill and Ink, but he does have some wildness going on with this. Yeah, actually Ice Claw for that that third Weaselpede may actually go insane. And then all you got to do is just sub a library instead of the torch, and you just try to see if you can beat him in the sandstorm. Easy, right? So we are a little bit of a Baroque boy here, so we're gonna skip JJ and just grab a random item. If we get a seller, nice. And we are looking a little broke, so what we will do is we will jump into the mandala shop and transform a small item. Crit potion. So this actually changes up just a little bit. Excuse me. However, we do run into that same issue. So we would add another small item to the board, and I don't want to do that, especially because we're running those quick salts. So I'll just leave it up here for the time being. Hopefully we do run into a boss that will, or not a boss, a vendor that will give us more money for our small items. Don't remember his name. I think it's Barkun. Where he's always reminding you that these items are smaller than Quixel, which, to my understanding, Quixel's very tiny from what the other vendors say. So I'm not entirely sure how small these items are that we're bonking each other with, but again, it is what it is. So we will go ahead and just continue looping onto that poppy field for the time being. What's up, Creed? I'm matching why they matcha, you know what I'm saying? You gotta matcha while you watcha. All right, let's see. Your first time you use your rightmost item, charge a slow. We don't have any slows. And we don't use any ammo items. So when you slow, something gains regen, or whenever you do something, it gains regen. Poison items have poison. We actually will just go ahead and do that extra poison, because 13 poison and scaling 75% on that on all of your items, quite wild. Let's see what Andy has for us. Alrighty, so we do run into the exact same issue. However, we would be scaling a little quicker, so it makes it a little more worth it, right? So we'll grab the Fang for the time being. Did Creed get you into the Enchanted Piggle start, Weasel? It's okay to say he did, because I would be sucked into that too. I'm kind of glad I bought Dooley so I wouldn't be just stuck playing that. Let's see. And we're gonna grab a weapon from the docks because again, we are running weapons. Interesting. He started with shiny Piggles. If you wanted me to puke, just that's all you had to tell me, brother. All right, and we're gonna leave the same build as is right now, just because again, it's gonna be a weapon regardless, and it's a weapon that goes with what's going on right now. Either way, we don't lose. Just because again, I think it may be actually more beneficial for us to have another floor spike than a spider mace. And we get the floor spike. We hit the nuts. All right, so we are moving relatively quickly now. Oh. 6 HP is brutal. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is terrible. Burn. Yeah, but you know what? We're just gonna do it to him. We're just gonna do it to him. This is gonna be beautiful. Now I shouldn't miss with 6. If I miss with 6, it'll be a little upset. Let's look at a medium item. Let's see if we can get rid of this far left item. Weaselpeed! Which actually, well, we'll have multicast of 2. Decisions. I think we're gonna leave it as is. And it is a weapon. So we're just gonna grab it right now because it is a weapon and it's just another item we can throw on the board. And it is another lifesteal weapon as well, so pluses all the way around. A Venom battery. Have everything have 60% crit? All right, chat. All right. Do we drop the bow and 1 item for the crow's nest? Or do we keep re-rolling? What did you guys want to do here? I think the crow's nest offers a very interesting. So shinies, the shiny spider mace's next roll trust. What do you think, Creed? Do you think we should roll? If you have a magic carpet, it does go crazy. That is very true. Well, if I were to do that, well, here, let's help our brain out here for a second, right? So is this the board that we would run with the crow's nest if we do it? Because we would get 2 spider maces, right? And then this goes off twice, and then it makes more crit and it charges itself, and we just drop the bow and the floor spike. Or would we put the floor spike out here instead? Yeah, the 60% crit is gonna go hard in the paint, in my opinion. And then if I put something on the left side, it'll just have more crit. So for instance, if I have the runic daggers, or I wouldn't have the runic daggers, I'd probably move spider mace over there and let that crit as much as possible to charge the runic daggers more. 3 extra damage is more than 60% crit. Because this is the board I had beforehand. And the idea is, regardless of what Quicksilver copies into, it's going to charge itself, right? But if these do go off, so for instance, the runic double bow goes off, let's say 7 seconds into the fight, we do add 26 extra damage onto it, along with just another item. So we do have stacking damage. So we can continue to roll. I heard the shiny spider mace was next roll. That was promised. So it may be beneficial to go for the spider mace, right? Or just maybe another item that's slightly better than what we have, right? I'm not crazy. It's okay to tell me I'm crazy. Oh, right? All right, he told you it's next roll. I can't, this game is unacceptable. I can't play it. I cannot play it. I can't. I can't. Would rocket launcher low-key go hard? I mean, it's a multicast of 3. We just lose. Oh, the roll after this one. Now you're spitting. Now you're spitting. Now you're thinking with your dipstick, Jimmy. I think we'll pass on the rocket launcher too. We're not really freezing. We can do better than 10 damage, right? We'll leave it at. We'll leave it on. We re-roll. Cove, Lumbors. Lumbors is such like an odd item, but it does go off twice. Gain 40 damage, but I still don't think that's worth it. Or is it? I don't think it's worth it on the damage, you know? Just because 7, I mean, I'd rather heal 50. Well, more than 50, but 50 than get 40 scaling because we just have scaling already. We don't need more scaling, right? Yeah, I'm thinking that just because it's diamond, I mean, if I'm gonna buy something to sell, it's 16 gold, right? But then also, I think that we're kind of in a spot to where we don't want to try to scale. We have scaling, we just need to be quicker, like you said. So I think I'm gonna pass on this. That's what we needed, a cannonball. You guys thought I was gonna say port, didn't you? I'll get another reroll. I don't think none of these items are gonna work. Oh. Do we just go for the troll and do a Dimus Atlas Stone? I'm actually gonna do it. Like, I want to do it just because, again, I'm gonna put it in this corner right here. And the more poison we stack on there, the more, oh, this is gonna be beautiful. We're just gonna go for Joyful Jack just to try to get another floor spike or something. This is about to be beautiful. Oh my goodness. He's not gonna last long enough for us to get a second hit on it. Double the damage. So we're gonna go ahead and start getting that Atlas Stone as low as possible. And we get more poison. Let's go. Loot item. Oh, love to see it. Okay. It's coming together. Or do we use it on like the spider mace or the floor spike? See, what is it? It's a 6%. So this would be about a 9.2, 9.3. This one would be about a 5.5, I'm guessing. We'll decide here in a second. Let's see what Pole has, actually. Okay, we're gonna re-roll. Come on, give us a poppy field. Okay, I lied. He said we don't need it. All right, so we're gonna dump the runic bow and we're gonna just start getting the Atlas Stone going. I want it to work so bad. We're on our last leg here, but it'll be funny if it works. Bronze item we don't have, and we're just gonna start with more shield. We're gonna try to get through this fight. I want this to work. I think it's gonna be huge. All right. Lockbox, nice. Oh, Lord. All right. Time to start pumping that Atlas Stone up. Oh, never mind. I don't know if we're going to be able to use the Atlas Stone, guys. we're a little fast. You do know it got buffed, right, Weasel? Yeah, Lockbox got buffed.
I would spar with you, but
Weapons.
late.
Just start freezing and being mean. Yeah, I don't know if I would use it, but I mean, it got, got, I guess. I don't know. It didn't get, well, it got what it should have started with, where bronze is, it upgrades it by 2, upgrading itself, or I guess making itself worth more, 2 more. Now it's 2, 4, 6, 8. So I think it's where it should have been when they started. But again, I don't balance games. I just break them. So so I think it's almost time to drop the runic daggers, and I'm very interested in grabbing this shard. You know what we'll do is,
Proud.
oh, Just Pinsy, thank you for the raid of 6. How are you guys doing? Welcome in, everybody. Hello, hello. Thanks for dropping in. I appreciate the raid. How are you doing tonight? Weasel, I'm pretty sure it was the Atlas Stone. I'm pretty sure that's what brought them in. Hello, everybody. I'm Matcha. I stream throughout the week. I'm working on currently getting the new schedule going. However, for the current time being, I am streaming usually starting at about 9 until about 1 a.m. And then just kind of seeing where we're going from there. Most of the time I play Mac and I do kind of weird builds, like this one, for instance. Atlas Stone with Poppy Fields, seeing how we can do, and then seeing what else we can knock out. If you guys have any crazy suggestions to do with Mac, just drop them in the chat. I love doing wacky builds. In fact, I do them just about every Wednesday. All right. So we do get the smelling salts. I'm not too keen on the smelling salts, just because, again, we're not running a slow build and we are kind of pivoting away from the runic daggers. Hopefully the energy potion kind of carries us just a little bit so we can start stacking that Atlas Stone. And what we'll do is we'll go against weapons platform, and it has the most health, so it'll help us see what's going on. And then, of course, if we go ahead and get the Keen Eye, we do get 12 extra critical, which helps us out. And then we are on a timer because of the kinetic cannon. We do buff it, unfortunately, because we're using small items. So we'll have to be very careful, but it looks like we should clear relatively quick. All right, so let's see. It was your first time playing the Bazaar. You don't think anyone in your stream knows what I'm saying. No worries. So what I'll do for you guys is I'll slow down just a touch. I have been told I play very quickly. So the way the build works, for all you guys just tuning in, I do have Poppy Fields. So Poppy Fields is when you use a weapon, poison 16. And then, of course, my weapons have damage equal to 75% of the poison on the enemy. And I did enchant it with the fiery enchant, which is when I use a weapon, I also burn equal to the item's poison. So we'll be stacking the poison on Poppy Fields if we are able to, because that increases our damage for the weapons, the poison, and the burn. Poppy Fields is the main part of this build that makes it work. And then since it does have our weapons doing poison damage, which will increase our Spider Mace's charge time by 2 seconds, and other slows, if we do get slows, it will charge the Spider Mace 2 seconds. So every single time a weapon goes off, this cooldown does get charged 2 seconds. After that, the floor spike comes in. So whenever anybody uses a weapon, it'll charge it for a second. And this will be scaling with the Poppy Fields because you will have more weapon damage. And then on top of that, while doing the poison damage from using it, we will also do the additional 5 that the floor spike naturally comes with. And then after that, we do have the Ballast Fang. Since it is scaling and they do have poison, we will have 50% crit chance. And this has lifesteal. So Mac is very squishy. He's a wet paper towel. So we do want to try to get as much lifesteal as possible to sustain in a fight. And it is at a 4-second cooldown, again, scaling everything else and hitting quite hard and healing us every 4 seconds. And then Shard of Obsidian is just another weapon. It is a reagent for mech. hilarious game. So that Shard of Obsidian will help us out in getting more damage and also using a weapon. So the main idea of this build, and the Atlas Stone is there just for giggles, as it does double its damage every time it does go off. So that's another reason why we do have the Atlas Stone in here. But the main gag of this build is to attack as quickly as possible and do enough poison damage and fire damage and just normal damage that we're able to knock everything out as quickly as possible before they knock us out, basically. Smooth boulder, yes sir. And then we will actually pick up this slow effect, because if we put it on the spider mace, it will basically make it a 7.8 cooldown instead of a 9.8, because every time it goes off it will slow. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. We could also change it over and put it on the poppy fields, but we will lose that fiery enchant, and that is where some of our damage is coming from, especially with us being on our last leg, as we have lost and got the enchantment from the prestige. So we do want to play quite carefully, and we do want to basically do as much damage as we possibly can. And then we do have a lot of small items, and so most people would go to Andy, and we do have 15 gold. And then you do have Lost and Found, which is quite peculiar, but a small non-weapon item. We'll actually go to the Bazaar Con. With Mac, the more levels you have on you, the more HP you have. So again, you do have the options in the Bazaar Con of gaining XP, which is the option we will go for. And then we have Swag Collector, which gives you more small items. And then you can get a diamond tier item. I haven't had much luck with this, to be honest with you. I played a little bit after it became out to the public, and every time I pick this item, I get burned by it, or pick this choice, I get burned by it. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that XP. Also, everybody, how's everybody's night going? I do know there's a lot of new people in here, so let me know how you guys are doing, and let's chat it up. And then Just Pinsy, thank you for the follow. I do appreciate you. Thank you. And then we have the shop here by Middle, who sells medium items. The only medium item we have is diamond already. We can't scale it up anymore, so we're just going to leave that as is for the time being. And then shield is nice, but again, if we fight a monster, we do get XP, so we will fight a monster. And we get the Blood Reef Captain, which isn't too bad. It is 2 XP, so we will hit level 11 before we get into our last fight of the day. Second Gamble, thank you for the follow. I do appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. So as you can tell, the main gag of this build is to make as much damage and scale our weapons, and then also do enough poison and burn damage to knock out the opponent. So as you can tell, Poppy Fields is doing most of our damage with 176 poison and 198 burn. And then of course you do have all the other items doing their damages and respective poisons themselves. So again, most of this from Poppy Fields comes from our weapons. So we do need to make sure we keep a close eye on our weapons and make sure that we can get them going off as quickly as possible. And then we do pick up a Pesky Pete. And then so we have burn skills here, which is very interesting for me to go to. However, I don't want to jump into the burn skills because only one of our items has burn. And then free skills. Free skills are nice. However, we're going for mainly burst. So what I'll do is I'll actually go into the max skills, because we could possibly get more ammo for our potions, which is what I'm going to grab, just because we don't have any regeneration and we're not doing any slow freezing or anything like that, just poison. But we don't have any items that do regeneration. So again, we won't be using it too much. And then the potent potables, our poison items do 1 extra poison for each potion and burn the same way. So we do receive a 1 and 2 scaling, because this is scaling off of the poison. But again, that's only for 1 item. So we'll just go ahead and grab the stocked option, just so we can make sure we speed up as quickly as we can when we jump into a fight. How long have I been playing? So I haven't been playing too long. I have been playing, I would probably guesstimate, for about maybe a month. And most of the time in the beginning, before Matt came out, I played a lot of Vanessa. I'm not super familiar with her items that she unlocked in the later of the past at level 30. And then I haven't really played with her items she had last season as well, or season 0, if you will, or beta, just depending on how you want to look at it. And so what I have done is I've really just kind of honed in on playing Mac as much as possible, just because I will eventually try to climb to Legend, and I probably will use Mac the entire way Mac does change every about 3 to 4 days due to hot fixes. So if there's Mac gameplay that you want to see, please do always drop by, as every time I'm streaming, I usually do play at least one game with Mac. And then depending on what everybody wants going on, I may actually end up doing wacky builds or anything like that. Or for instance, drop an Atlas Stone into our build. So we are looking at extra weapons here, and then we do have the mandala. So since we do have our reagents, it is nice to get gold, but as you can tell, we're sitting pretty with 29 in the bank, 29 in the bag. So we're gonna leave that alone as is, and we're not actually gonna transform anything. And get a haste item is nice. However, we're a weapons focused build. So, and we do have the coin for it. So we will jump into the weapon shop and see what they have. And then we have leeches, which actually isn't too bad of an item, but it is a medium item, so it is a little bit rougher. And if I were in ranked, I would try to convince chat as much as possible to let me drop the Atlas Stone for the leeches. Luckily, we're not, so I'm just going to leave it alone as is. The Viper Cane, we do actually do poison. So that would be nice because, again, a poison item gains poison equal to 15% of the item's damage for the fight. So that would help us out as well. And then the regeneration items, we don't have any regeneration items, so we're not worried about the second part of that. Alrighty, Penzi, thank you for dropping in. I do appreciate you. Thank you for the raid, and have a great rest of your night. And then I think I'm actually going to go ahead and sell the retort, actually, just because we haven't been using it. And then I'm going to go ahead and just keep actually one chunk of lead in case we do need it. And then we may actually just pocket the Viper Cane for the time being. Pocketing items does help out if you do need to pivot a little later. And I'll drop the runic daggers for the time being too, as I may not actually need it. And then we'll go with the refresh. And then so we do have an upgrade on the dagger. I don't think we'll be slotting the dagger in, as we did get that upgrade for the ammo on the potion. So it doesn't make too much sense. And then we're not an ice build, so the ice claws won't really work out for us. And the letter opener, while it is nice, I don't think that we'll probably slot it in. But looking at the items that we do have, whenever you do crit, you would actually do a double the damage on here. So you would have 36 burn, and you would do 32 for the poison, which would scale other items. So it may be beneficial for us to pick it up. It will crit at least 3 times, since it does lose 25% crit each time it does attack. So we'll just go ahead and pick it up and put it in our pocket for the time being. And we may actually sell that dagger because we're not taking that upgrade and we're not going to be using it. So I actually will go ahead and sell that because I won't be using it. And then I also won't be using the frost potion. I pocketed this about day 2 or 3. I don't think that we'll be jumping into it. So I'll just leave that alone as is. I'm not super concerned about it. And then what we will do actually is go ahead and get some chocolate bars. I'm gonna go ahead and spend a little bit extra on the gold tier ones due to the fact that since we are going into an NPC fight, it is okay to do so. And we are having a lot of weapons go off, so Void Golem wouldn't be our best bet, as he does have Caltrops. Trash Titan, he does have a good skill called Juggler. However, we're not really using Poppy Fields as a charge item, so I wouldn't jump into that. And Boss Haro has great skills and other weapons that we may use, so we'll just jump into Boss Haro. So out of curiosity, how many of you guys have played The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time? I'm just curious here. I promise it's not because my follow alert is the exact same, or it's Link. I promise that's not why I'm asking. And then we will leave the bayonet here because it doesn't count actually towards the Poppy Field because it's not a charge item. And then we'll jump into Bazaar, grab XP again. And then so we can transform a small item. And so what we'll do is we'll sell a chocolate bar and we will move this over to transform this. And we get another frost potion. Joy, joy, joy. And so we're going to sell the chunk of gold and the frost potion, and we're just going to drop this back down. And then we don't need another small weapon. If we do hit another spider mace, that is actually crazy. However, I do just want to go for more XP yet again. Yeah, the follow sound is Beetle from Wind Waker, but I just wanted to see who has played Ocarina of Time. Specifically Ocarina of Time. Man. Oh, he has a crow's nest. This could have been us, but Mac. And we passed up on it. Oh, that kind of hurt. Ooh, nope. That's it. Rest in pepperonis. Alrighty, so we do take a 4-piece with Mac. Very interesting. Definitely going with something a little wacky here. I did like the way that this build was going. I do think we did make a slight mistake, maybe by chance, by having the Fang in here. And we could have used the quick salts to turn it into maybe a floor spike or something, or maybe even another spider mace. But again, learning in normal is the best way to continue getting better, especially since you will have to think your way out of certain situations. So that's the best way that I try to use normals before I jump into ranked. Alrighty, chat. So would you guys like to see me run? Who would you like to see me run with? Mac, Vanessa, or Dooley? I will let you know Dooley is not my cup of tea. I have played him a couple of times. I'm still learning him, so that's why it's not my cup of tea. However, I'm pretty familiar with Vanessa, and then I'm pretty proficient with Mac. But what do you guys want to see? Let me know in chat. Lockbox build or bust? Huh. Lockbox. Let me see something real quick. When you win a fight, it gains 3, 6, or 9 in value. We'll see if we run into it. We'll see if we run into it. Let's see what we can make happen here. Alrighty, so playing with Vanessa, I do have a quite different build that the way that I build with her is quite different than Mac. I actually go a gold tier skill because again, whenever you get the right hand, left hand, or the one that gives all your weapons 20 damage is actually completely broken. And what I will do is most items get buffed from the left side, so I'll actually go with right-handed because most items buff left to right instead of right to left. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I will go to Finn's Big Bite right out the gate because while I do get 12.5 extra life, I do get 5 regen, and 5 regen very early is completely broken. And we don't have any items, so we won't be able to go for Viper, which most of the time I do go for Viper. I love running a Toxic Fang build. We will actually just go ahead and probably go with the Banana Bowl, try to get his skill, see if we can overheal ourselves. And for fire, we are not really set up for fire for the time being. So let's just try to make choices for a little bit later to make it a little easier for us to go ahead and pivot if we need be. So this is going to be a long fight because we have no weapons and he's just going to be healing and shielding himself. So the only reason why I asked earlier if you guys have played Ocarina of Time or not, you are able to name Link, and in most Legend of Zeldas you are able to. And so if you want to have a chill run, just name yourself My Dude, and everybody in the game will say My Dude as your name. And it brings a more chill vibe out. You know, you don't have to worry about saving the princess so much. You know, they're just calling you My Dude. They're hanging out. They're chilling. Well, I thought you guys should know that, you know? And if you want everybody to be friends with you, just change your name to My Boy. And they'll be like, hey, my boy, thanks for saving me. And you're like, no problem. Good. Have a chill run, right? So, see, Weasel wasn't ready for it. He wasn't ready for the spaghetti. And it's not even mom's spaghetti. Come on, Weasel. Hey, why would you have to care about the princess when you're being called my boy? Like, come on, my boy. We will pick up Pet Rock just for the time being, as it does have 10% crit, and it will be doing 48 damage. And then we'll pick up the Clamor as well. Just get a couple of slows out there, hopefully give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room. And then we will actually pick up the Piranha, because if you do not know, piranhas are not friends. They very, very often eat their friends. So they do not have that friend tag as the narwhal does. So we're gonna grab our boy the Piranha, PD Piranha, and we're gonna grab a Send It Sally Seashell. And so it gives us a little bit of shield, a little bit of damage, and some slow. And then last but not least, we do have Quixel here who sells small and medium items. We're big broke, and we do already have 5 regen, so we're just gonna leave that alone there. And then we will go ahead and grab another skill, hopefully something with weapon damage. So at the start of each fight, haste a weapon. Beautiful. Love to see it. And then we'll go for that 2-4-1 combo mill. It's almost like a Wendy's 4-for-4 deal, but 2-4-1. You know what I mean? Send it, Sally. Yeah, boy. And also, yeah, the princess is pretty, but everybody's calling you my dude and my boy. You ain't got time for the negativity of saving somebody, bro. You're a simp. Do you have your vest from working at Simps R Us? Alrighty, so we do get a day 1 win. That is a very odd board from both of us. I do think in ranked I would have definitely got clobbered. We have nothing going on worthwhile right now. They wouldn't hire you. What do you mean? All right, so Andy smells small items, and then you do have the cabin fishing, which is a small aquatic item. We do have only aquatic items, except for the pet rock, but we're gonna go for the mountain pass, and we're gonna try to get a fight. If we get XP, we still level, so either way, we're not mad. And we do get the dabbling apprentice, which is not bad. We should clear, and then we get a free 2 either way. All right, so I don't think there's anything here we necessarily need. However, getting panic may be beneficial given we have ammo items when we get there. All right. That's unfortunate. I think we actually lose because of that reload. Unfortunate. So we do lose, you know, the 1 extra XP. However, we do still get 1 for the hour, and we still level. So it's okay. And let's see here. So left item has most crit, poison items have, and left shield has shield. We will actually re-roll, and we'll give our weapons 10 damage. Not bad. And then we can transform items. We do have a med kit here that we can sell for 1. So we're gonna go to the weapons shop and see what we can do. We may be running weapons Vanessa. And then I do see that we get the Zoarcid, which isn't too bad. We would need to get something that burns, and then we do get Katana as well. So we'll actually pick up Katana as it does attack at 2 seconds. So every 2 seconds we're doing about, or every second we're doing about 7.5 damage, which is pretty good compared to some of the other items we have. And we don't have anything burning for the time being, so we're gonna leave that as is, and we're broke, so we can't do a reroll. All right, we have the Rogue Scrapper here. Not bad. His weapons do 60 damage, so we would have to take and eat 30 of it, but we do have that 5 regen, so we are able to get through it. If we wanted to upgrade our rush skill, we can actually go against the Mosquito, but everything seems to be at a pretty low cooldown, so I will go with the Rogue Scrapper instead. Again, trying to get as much XP to get the levels on everybody if we're able to. Alrighty, so Rust is a pretty good skill to get, as in the start of each fight, they'll slow an item for 3 seconds. Really good. It's actually a really good enabler for most, for most skills who, or that state, when you slow, do XYZ. So when you slow, charge an item, when you slow, go ahead and freeze, so on and so forth. So it is a nice enabler. And then also if we do run into a lighthouse later, it will charge it a little bit as well because it still counts as a slow. And also just slowing enemy weapons down or anything down usually helps out. So we do get our junkyard repair bot, a good little friendo that we have there. And then we do have medium items, upgrade a bronze item, and study. Excuse me. So what I think I will do is more than likely study. So while we do only need 3 experience, this will give us 2 for this hour. So we will level after the next hour, and it will allow us to be level 3, which is actually really good for us just because of the fact we will be ahead of people in levels. And then what we will do is we'll just gain 3 regeneration for a total of 8, and we have 412 HP, so it will help out. And then we'll be able to bring our new friend down here, so at least we'll be able to heal for 60, and we'll just get a bronze item, as if it's something like a beach ball, we'll replace our friend actually. And then so now we'll haste 2 items every 5 seconds, and then so we should be doing a full upfront damage build instead of trying to sustain as long as possible. Vanessa likes to be a very, very bursty character, at least in this current meta. Alright, so let's see what he has. This and the weapons to the right gain 20 damage. Using the item to the left, not bad. That's not too bad. What he has going on is actually quite crazy. If we don't get things going relatively quick, which by the looks of it, we're not getting things done very quickly. All right, so we lose day 2 as well. It does look like we're a little lost on the build for the time being. We do need to get either all weapons or pivot completely to an aquatic build. So since we are getting to day 3, we can start planning ahead a little bit better. And what better to help us out with than going with a large item, if we can find one. So our 2 options here were to either go for a weapon build or go for an aquatic build. And we have a good little mix here. So if we want to continue down the route that we're doing, we can always go with torpedo. However, we don't have another large item to reload this. So in 8 seconds, let's see here. So we would have 4 items go off before this. So it would add an additional 120 damage. So 200 damage, not too great. That is about half of the life here. However, you would be losing out on that haste, and it may not be super beneficial. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and completely pivot to weapons, just because again, Cutlass doing 20 damage isn't too bad. It's not too shabby. And then we're not looking at volcanic vents because we're not doing burn. We'll go ahead and leave the shop as rerolls 4, a little costly. And then we will go for the small and large items. Arky, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. And welcome in. How are you doing? All right, so we're just gonna completely finish this pivot out actually. So we do have some ammo items, so we do have to be kind of careful. However, this is gonna be a complete pivot. Everything does get 15% crit because of our pet rock. I don't know. Weasel got it first, Emily. Weasel got it first. On my side, it shows Weasel got it first. And what we'll do is we'll go for the Dabbling Apprentice. It is the weakest of the 3. However, we are in a pretty weak state, but also we just lost him. So we'll see how we've improved and if we have improved. So just by looking at it, we have definitely improved. And we're going for just about what we were going for. So if I look at the recap, we did 300 damage relatively quick. So with that being said, anybody who hasn't gotten ahead of the level curve will be in a bit of trouble. If we run into a Mac, it is almost guaranteed a free win. And we will sell this vial, get our 2 gold, and we'll jump into the weapon shop. And we'll see what we have here. So we do have a flagship, which is pretty good. If you have another tool, property, or friend, or an ammo item, that's +1 multicast. So we do have a ammo item, we do have a friend, but we do not have a property and we do not have a tool. Let's see here, just to make sure. So we will get that refresh. We do have a little extra gold in the pack, and beautiful. We love to see it. So we're gonna say goodbye to our friend here, our junkyard repair bot. He's over there just vibing it out. We're gonna go ahead and sell him, unfortunately, and we'll grab the grenade. We'll grab the pet rock. And this one may come as a surprise to you, but we'll be saying goodbye to our piranha friend for the time being. And we will say goodbye to the clamra, as we will be able to get items later that we'll be able to use. But we'll be picking up the switchblade. Hi, Arky. I appreciate you. Yeah, so I try to explain as much as I can. So if it helps you guys out whenever I'm explaining these and it helps you guys through your thought processes, it helps me out as well. Most of the time, whenever I'm playing offline, I tend to just click through things and kind of just really just go for it. And I'm kind of just like, yeah, that's fine. That's cool. And then I realize I'm not paying attention and I'm on day 8 with like 3 wins. And that's not where you want to be. So it's definitely something that I try to do as much as possible. Hello, Gordo. Welcome in. How are you doing tonight, sir? So we're going to go ahead and upgrade a bronze tier item, and we're in a bit of a predicament. So we're looking at all of our items and we're like, well, everything except for your pet rock and your grenade is bronze. What are you going to do? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to drop the seashell down here and we're going to leave an open spot for the time being, but we're going to upgrade the switchblade. Switchblade seems a little odd, but when you use an adjacent weapon, it gains +3 damage. We're going to go ahead and get that upped a little bit, but the cutlass goes off with the multicast twice every 6 seconds, and the katana goes relatively quick. So we're basically scaling our damage. If we can run into a shark claws, that'd be great. You're all right, Gordo. Just all right. What? Are you sad for the Mac nerfs? No more crazy. The gold weapon skill is right. Yes, sir. It is the rightmost. And it may be more beneficial to use that to our advantage and go ahead and switch over the katana or the cutlass, but I haven't played Vanessa in a hot minute, so I'm making I'm making very bad decisions here. Luckily, we don't get punished for it. I also have to find a lockbox. Apparently, this is a lockbox build too. I am falling a little bit behind because, again, we are on day 4 now. So shout out to Gordo, who always catches me whenever I am doing wrong. So based on the right-handed skill here, I wasn't using it to its advantage, which was your right weapon has 40 damage. So I'll go ahead and throw it on the katana. So every 2 seconds, we're doing 55 damage instead of the 15 we were doing, and it will still scale. And then cutlass is also another good option, but every 6 seconds, it'll do damage. So I'll go ahead and put it on the katana for the time being. Once we build a little more crit, we may actually switch to cutlass, or depending on how the next fight goes, we may switch it because the crits deal double damage on the cutlass. And so since we are looking a little bit like a broke boy, we're gonna go for that spare change. And then we can upgrade another bronze tier item, get a small item, or non-weapon items. Vanessa has some pretty good non-weapon items that will help out. So we will go into the non-weapon items. I do know that we have a lot of bronzes, but it's okay. And then let's see here. Ramrod is pretty good. It reloads adjacent ammo items for 1 ammo, and then it gives them 20% crit. And then whenever they run out of ammo, you also recharge it. So it may be beneficial to throw it on here. So whenever we crit, the revolver will reload itself to ammo, which we're just looking for the damage. And then of course, a grenade popping for 220 damage is more than likely what we would like to go for here. So since we did pick up spare change, we will go ahead and cash in on that. And we'll move these items over, and we're just gonna slot Ramrod right there. And then we will end up at 4 gold if we sell out. So we do miss the opportunity for Cove, but that's a-okay. We can't get a single piggy bank just yet. And then so we have the Boiler Room Brawler. We have no tools, which is mostly for his skill, which gives 3% crit every time you use a tool. We don't really have any tools with the exception of Ramrod, and I don't necessarily need more crit on Grenade or the revolver, so we'll leave that as is. The Blood Reef Raider does have a couple items we may use, and then the Hellbilly does have a Ganjo, or a Ganjo, and it does help us with our scaling, but we're gonna go with the Blood Reef Raider and see what they give us. There is a couple of items in here that we would like to have, mainly a revolver upgrade, or even getting this your leftmost ammo item has 2 max ammo, so we are able to pivot and get a little more ammo items and go maybe towards an ammo build. So again, just giving ourselves options down the road as we are on day 4. This is usually when I would start thinking about a pivot if I'm not too happy about my board. And we do get a bar of gold, which is 5. We love economy. We're perfectly cool with that. And then of course we're gonna go into the weapon shop. The weapon shop helps out quite a bit. And then so while we did get a gold bar and we did miss that upgrade, we can go ahead and get it right here. No problemo. And then let's see. So we do have enough for a refresh, and we don't have anything that heals. So at least let's look at the refresh and see what we get. We do get Powder Keg, which is quite interesting, but we're not doing a burn build. Bayonet is also quite interesting as well, but I don't think we can quite make it fit in if we would have to put it on the right side of Katana, which would kind of mess up our flow a little bit, but it would be going off the same time we use Katana. But if it's not considered a charged item, so it may not trigger certain abilities, so we'll leave it alone as is. And Shark Ray, we don't have any haste going on except for that start of haste, which would give it 20 damage, and 7 seconds is quite a bit longer than most of our cooldowns, especially since I believe we're averaging about 5 seconds. Katana bringing that average down a little bit more, but again, we don't really have to worry about it too much. So we'll just leave that alone as is, and we'll just take our level up, which since we're level 5, we get a silver skill. And then so first time you poison, freeze an item, 10 regen, and burn items have 2 burn. So the regen is quite good, but since we have 13, I'm actually going to go ahead and sell our gold bar and hit a refresh. And your weapons have +1 damage. When you buy a weapon, increase the bonus damage. When you crit, freeze an item. And then when you crit, your shield items gain 5. Well, we're a weapons build, so we'll go with lifting. It's time for us to join the Swole Patrol. And let's see here. So we have 4 gold in total. Again. And what I will do is, so we have been a bit squishy and we need the fights to be drawn out just a touch. So I'm gonna go to Finn's Big Bite and we'll just gain a little more life and more regen. So again, just helping us survive a little bit longer. And we're going against another Vanessa.
Go ahead. Makes this more fun.
All right, so they do have a Long John, which is what we would have loved to see early on, and they do have Shark Claws, but it does seem like, it does seem like we tie out actually, which is actually quite insane. That's crazy. So as you can tell, their katana is definitely doing work as well. Oh, interesting. It goes up to 36. Huh, maybe I need to upgrade my katana. So as you are going through these, don't forget to upgrade your items, as you may end up in the exact same spot as me. So his katana was doing 36, or I believe somewhere around there, and I'm only doing 16. So again, we are running a little lean on damage. So we'll go ahead and upgrade a bronze item. And we're gonna go ahead and just use katana. So we did only gain a couple of damage, which isn't too great. Not the worst, but again, we could do a little better. We'll go to silver tier items. So a lot of people don't know these specific vendors that have silver tier or gold tier items will actually sell you duplicates depending on what you have. Now, if you are going from an upgrade from a bronze to silver, that will stay the same. But if you have another silver item, I believe I have that a little backwards actually. So if you do have a silver item and you find one in here, it will upgrade. But if you have a bronze item and you buy the silver item, it'll allow you to have a duplicate. So if you're trying to find a duplicate, these vendors are the vendors for you. And then looking at what we got here, again, everything is costing 8 here, and we are dealing with ammo as well. So it may be beneficial for us to actually drop a couple of things off here. So yes, we do have the cutlass and it is doing quite a bit of work. I'm actually gonna go ahead and drop it and pick up this double barrel. And I'll put it next to the ramrod because it will do 52 damage every 4 seconds. And then whenever it goes off the second time, it will charge the ramrod for 1, and that will also help out. And then we'll actually drop the revolver, and then we'll put the grenade in. And what we'll do is we'll see what we can get in the fight, and we'll see how this goes. And then we may actually just drop revolver in there just to keep it in there for the time being. And then we'll go for Trash Town Mayor. And we'll see if we can get his skill. If we can get his skill, we will definitely be going quite crazy. The Infernal Envoy, if you are doing a fire build on Vanessa, it is good to drop by the Infernal Envoy. He does have a Hill Enchanted Fire Claw, and so it's really good for that as well. His skill isn't too bad. If you're dealing with big cooldowns, his skills one of his skills is it gives your far left and far right item 5% cooldown, which is nice to have, especially if you're dealing with big items that have a lot of cooldown. Say you have a catapult build going, 5% cooldown is 5% cooldown. Anything helps you out. That is a good catch, Gordo. That is a good catch. So, Gordo catching me out again. So we do have the switchblade here, and the pet rock goes off every 6 seconds, and the revolver goes off every 4. So since the revolver will be going off a little bit more, it would be more beneficial to put the switchblade next to it. However, I'm actually just going to slide this over just a little bit and put these on the side, because I'd probably want the double barrel that goes off twice to be scaling, as it does have the same cooldown as that revolver. And then we will get a small silver tier item for the time being, and then we do get a musket which has a 100% crit chance. So if we're going against a mech, it may be good to slot it in just so we crit, and then it does 200 damage, and we don't really have to worry about the rest because we should be able to play cleanup crew right after that. And then let's see here. So Tox Clocks, haste, slow, and cooldown items. The mandala, which transforms your items into something new, something we're very, very, very familiar with. And then we do have a small non-weapon item. So since we are a little bit broke, what I will do is just go ahead and get that small non-weapon item. It does seem like a pretty low play, and it doesn't seem like it's very effective. However, what we are able to do is then bounce back and go into the shop that we have. So for this, for instance, would be middle, and then we can jump into this shop. And then so the challenge for this one was to do a lockbox. So we do have lockbox, and luckily we can sell enough for us to have it in here. So it's gonna be quite interesting. I have not done a lockbox build before, but let's go ahead and see what we can do. All right, so I don't necessarily want to lose the crit, and I don't necessarily want to lose my scaling, and I need the reload. Let's see here. So if we're going to do this, I think this would probably be our best setup for the time being. See what happens when you buy a weapon. So we do need to go into every weapon vendor shop for the time being, but we'll run it like this. We'll see how the day 5 goes. We may get lucky and actually crit across the board and just get a W that way. But let's see, hopefully we win this. We're gonna start trying to scale that lockbox. This is where truffles would actually come in handy for the one time. All right, so it looks like we're missing a couple of our criticals here. Perfect, good time to crit grenade. Woo, we're a 1.5 seconds from losing that right there. All right, so we're at a 4-piece. We're already doing better than our last run with mech. Luckily, we have some things going on in our favor here. So we have small items, the mandala as well. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and use the mandala, and I'm going to transform this weapon on the far side and see what we can get. We do get a diving helmet, which makes items adjacent aquatic. And then whenever we use an aquatic item, this gains a little extra shield. Not what we're looking for. Again, we're trying to look for more damage other than just going ahead and sustaining as long as possible. So this is an expensive buy. However, it will give us scaling if we do buy the torpedo, and it is 1 damage, but it is only for 4. So a little bit of a bad return on that. But again, we're mostly going for damage as much as we can. So we will buy the piranha and immediately sell it back. And let's see here. So we do get the diving helmet again. And then we have the Infernal, which I don't think that we'll be able to take, but I'm gonna go ahead and more than likely try for it. Trash Golem is pretty crazy as well. He does have an ammo skill, which may help us out. And the Zookeeper isn't really on our radar for the time being. And then really looking at it, I'm not entirely sure if I'm convinced that we would beat the Infernal. I think we're more so on the losing side of that. So we'll go ahead and drop down and go for Trash Golem instead. 2 XP isn't that bad. We still will level by the end of the day. All right, so we do have Katana going quite crazy when it does get haste. All right. It may be more beneficial for us to actually drop the pet rock in.
As spineless as a jellyfish.
So we do get the plasma grenade, very interesting.
The tyrant's whole kingdom.
When you win a fight, this gains 3 value. We'll just go ahead, we'll keep going with the lockbox. The idea was the lockbox.
Will inspire the crew.
All right. And then so Colt has ammo items. It's perfect for us because again, we're running mostly at this point ammo items, and also all the all the ammo items we can buy and then resell back. So that helps out. But we are buying gold items, so it does get pretty expensive. And I don't want to do a reroll, so just a 1 point of damage is what we'll take, because essentially we do get 4 points of damage as we have 4 weapons. And then Midsworth, we're not really going to go for Midsworth because we don't have any medium items to sell him. We'll just grab a small tool and we'll move forward. We do get a powder flask, which is huge. It's huge. And then we'll go against this pig. Hopefully it's not some crazy money pig tree that's, or excuse me, a money tree pig that will never die. All right, so shielded sauna, hot stone. So we have a matchbox fire build going on. And he does have quite a bit of heal. I do think that we're probably smoked on this one, to be completely honest with you. Oh yeah, that thing's going. It's pretty good. That healthy hoarder is definitely what's getting us too. And when you heal, shield items gain 1 shield for the fight. That's crazy. Man, it's going crazy on day 6. Man, it's going sicko mode. All right, so we do get bronze upgrade again. We don't really have anything we want to upgrade. We'll leave it alone as is. We're not really looking for spare change, so we'll just go into Colt again. Again, we're trying to hope for some items that don't cost a lot, like this one. So grape shot was only 4, sell it back for 2. And then if we do grab the arbalist, we do have to be kind of careful just because again, it does cost 8 and then we'll only be left with 4 gold, which is only enough for a reroll. So we'll just go ahead and leave and just take our 1 point of damage that we can. And then we have the mandala again and regeneration. So we'll just go for more small items, hopefully get some weapons. So we do get an upgrade and we do get the shoe blade, but we will go ahead and you're playing my Mac build. Let me know how that goes. We will pick up the boots, even though they are 8, we can sell it for 4 gold. And then whenever we come back in, we are able to pick up the switchblade, which is just an overall upgrade. Love to see it, and we'll leave it alone as is. So Shock Trooper is a really good option to go for if you do have a burn build, and then Ghost Pepper as well. And then the Viper Tyrant, I think we are strong enough to clear the Shock Trooper, so we'll go ahead and go for the Shock Trooper. He does have quite a bit of health, so we may fall a bit short, but hopefully we do start clearing out some HP really quick. We do get a crit right out the gate. We will be getting hit for about 500, 550. And we do clear. A Millie who won. You can't leave us on a... Alrighty, so we do have burn skills, freeze skills, and golden tier skills. We'll jump into the golden tier skills. The freeze skills are always really good if you have like slows, if you have other things like poison, fire, because you can have those trigger into a freeze, or just have your freeze do a little bit more freeze. But we're going ahead and jump into the gold tier skills as we can scale with these a little bit better. We don't have any large items, so the crit chance doesn't help. And then when we use a item with ammo against 5% crit, we are using multiple items with ammo. So I'm gonna go ahead and take parting shot, and we'll see if we can slowly pivot towards using a little bit more ammo items. And then if we go that direction, it'll be nice. Otherwise, we'll just keep what we have now because it is working out. And then usually, since there is a shop, we will jump into a shop. However, we're gonna go to the docks. We're a little bit broke. Let's grab a weapon and our 2 gold. And a Millie. Let's see. I had 1 HP. Yikes. It sounds like it was super close. So we are here and we are looking at the eating contest, the obstacle course, and Midsworth. We do have a medium item we are able to sell. And he does sell small and large items. So we'll just jump into the shop. Why not? And then this is a grappling hook. It is 4 gold. It's okay. We'll take it. Scale a little higher. Get the reroll. We do get a cove. We love to see it. So we'll go ahead and sell these items off. I'll keep the powdered flask just in case, and I'll sell the revolver off. And the thought process is, at this point, we're starting to hit gold items. So if we're able to hit gold items, let's go ahead and start making sure if we do get a revolver again, it will be a gold item. So with Vanessa, since we are doing a buy and sell type build, we do need to pick up a Cove, which is 12, and we do only have 16. So what I'm going to do is pick up the Cove, and then we'll pick up the butterfly swords, because again, we will just sell them back, and then we'll start building the Cove up. And since we build up the Cove with the value, every time we do sell an item, we gain 1 value. So this will start stacking very quickly. If we hit a point with no prestige and we do get our last enchant, it is a good item to have in case we go into a crazy shop and we do a full build pivot. It is possible. However, what we're mostly using it for is when we run out of money in a weapon shop and the entire shop is weapons, we can go ahead and sell that out and just get more build quality out of that. All right, so both of us do have a little bit of regen. I do get a crit. Ooh, this is scary. All right, we get the dub. And I will get that midway plug. If you do like watching the Bazaar, please drop down and go ahead and hit that follow button. I do stream the Bazaar 3 times a week, as it is the main game that I do play. I enjoy playing the Bazaar very much so, and I would enjoy it more if you guys were here and telling me what kind of wacky builds I should be doing. And yes, Amelie, shameless plug. So I don't need any of these items. I will leave them alone as is. So the silencer is here. However, most of the time I will use this in a 1 weapon build, but I'll leave it alone as is. The 20 damage isn't anything too crazy, as we do have our 2 damaging items next to the switchblade. And let's see here. So we will get a small weapon, and the whole reasoning behind this is when we grab a weapon, we get more scaling. And since we're getting more scaling and we're not going to use it, we sell it, and now we have the Cove higher. Easy peasy. And then we have the Cosmic Rock, which is the option that we will go with. And the reasoning behind this is if we get a feather, we are able to reduce all of our cooldowns, and that just means we attack quicker. And also, we do want to win with the lockbox. I'm not completely sold. We will come defeat the dragon. And as for the Oasis Guardian, he doesn't really have anything that we would use for the time being. So we'll just use the Cosmic Rock. So our best bet would be defeat the dragon to save the princess. Yeah, in Weasel's run, he's gonna go for the dragon. I'm good, I'm chilling. And we get crit, beautiful, love to see it. We actually literally love to see it. And then we'll go for a silver tier ammo item because we can actually get some pretty good items from this, and we do get dive weights. So we'll leave dive weights in our pack just in case we do run into a shark ray. If we run into a shark ray, then we'll go ahead and use it, and we'll pivot out of one of these items because then it'll do quite a bit of damage. And we'll go for a fight as well. And the Oasis Guardian was a little upset we left him behind at the dance at prom. So we're going back for a ×2 here. Hopefully we don't get bonked by the femur, as the instance will slow twice. So I believe we do work quick enough. It shouldn't be too much that we have to worry about. And there it goes. So again, anything we get from here, the only thing we would not necessarily want, believe it or not, is the skill. It's not bad, but again, if we do get it, it's not really too great, and we get the femur. So good thing that we got the femur, because again, we do scale our items when that happens. And then I will go ahead and go into the Artisan Dunes, and let's see here, 57. So I'll go ahead and upgrade the damage of the grenade, and that's because it does crit more times than not, and it does the double crit damage, I believe. Oh, it doesn't anymore, actually. So they must have changed it super recently. So I believe Deadly probably does the double damage. So we'll see how this goes against the pig. But again, if we do crit with it, we do tons of damage. And we could have also put it on the double barrel for more of a longevity type thing. So we do get the immediate crit out of the grenade. Hopefully we continue to get crits because this is going to start stacking. And we escape with 49 health. Femur on Vanessa is fantastic, but we're not playing Femur here. Gordo, you got me, brother bear. Yesterday, or the other day, was Femur day with Mac. So we are at a pretty good pace right now, and I'll go ahead and sell off the Femur as we won't use it. And we're not going to be going back towards the pet rock because if we do switch with the dive weights to that shark ray, it is a friend, so we'd still lose that crit bonus. And since we are scaling the cove, what I'll go ahead and do is get the silver chocolate bars, and essentially it's like getting the free chocolate bars when we cash in, and we get health along the way. And then we'll go to the aerodome because we can go anywhere, and perfect, just the vendor we wanted to see. So things here are very expensive. 16 for the blowgun, which isn't too bad. Let's see, what do we have here? 16. So it'd be 16 for 7 seconds. Not too bad. If we do put it on the right side, that's 40 and 16. So 56 and 66 plus the 2. So it's been doing 66 damage every 7 seconds. That is a touch slow for what we do have going on. If we were not using the lockbox, we would definitely slot it in. But since we are using lockbox, we do get an additional 44. So that's about 100-ish damage. So we may just grab it and play around with it and see what we land on, actually, because I'm very curious to throw the blowgun in here. And let's see here. Go ahead and upgrade that katana. And let's actually just see real quick where we're at with it. If we put on the far right, 114, not bad. Not bad. So we'll throw some haste in here and we'll actually just change it up just a touch. So we will have instant reloads basically, and that'll work out. We'll have some poison here. Let's just see what happens. And then what do you guys think we should do here, chat? Do you guys think we should go for a slow effect or for a random effect? What do you guys think? What are you guys thinking? So I got a rando. What was everybody else thinking here? Is everybody on board with the rando? Bring back the femur and do slow. I sold the femur, Gordo. I sold. Go back in time and tell me to not sell it. The femur with the katana would have been crazy. In fact, I probably would have dropped this right here and had it going on. That would have been crazy. Alrighty, so I'm thinking we should do random, but we should put it on the katana. It's actually pretty cool artwork. Probably random katana. All right. So I had two people say random, and then of course Gordo's letting me know about the katana, and I actually wholeheartedly agree with that. Just because we can't really go too wrong, and it's crit damage, or it's crit rather, 62% crit. Wow. All right. So let's see here. Blood Reef Captain, not too bad. Uridan, not too bad. We'll just go ahead and start XP maxing here, I think. Let me double check with the Blood Reef real quick. So he does have Captain's Wheel, Flagship, Pop Snappers, Pesky Pete, and Crow's Nest. And then he does have some cooldown as well, but I don't believe that we have anything that we would necessarily use with that. So we'll just go for the XP on the Revenant. You gain regeneration, your burn items gain 1 burn. Interesting. So quick little tip for some of you guys out there, especially the newer ones playing the game. The game doesn't quite explain where you can get certain items from. However, if you scroll over it, you will get a tooltip. And if you look in this top right corner right here, it'll tell you actually where the item is from. So especially if you're doing your early on builds and you're like, can I get that item from XYZ? you can look up right here and it'll tell you who it's from and the set it's from. So for instance, the katana is of course Vanessa's item and it comes from her core build. And then if you look at something like the shadowed cloak, it does not tell you where it's from, but it is a common item. So it is, and it is just from the core set. So it will come from the random encounters you have, or if you can find it in Curio, that is another place for it as well. And then of course for other people as well, like Ouroboros statue is a Mac item and is part of his core set. So of course it says Mac with the core items as well. So it's just a quick little tip for you guys, just in case you're wondering where certain items do come from, you at least know now. Alrighty here. So I do get Shadowed Cloak, which gains haste and it will go crazy. So I'll actually go ahead and drop and move a couple of things around real quick. So I'll go ahead and let's see here. So we will want to go ahead and use it on the Deadly Katana as it is haste. And since it will haste for 3 seconds, this will always be on a 1 second cooldown and it will be scaling itself in damage. So it actually does outbeat the Switchblade. And then I will go ahead and drop the Powdered Flask for the time being. I do understand that we would be losing out. Let's see, actually. Multicast equal to its ammo. So even if we do reload it, it will not go too crazy, but it may actually help out a little bit more. And then we'll put the Switchblade right between these two right here. Let's see here. We get 3 free if we do that. And we're not going to be using the grenade much more. We've at this point slowly gotten into a katana build, you know, following our luck box. So we'll just get the free chocolate bars. Go ahead and sell them because again, we are scaling that cove just in case we do need it. And then we'll jump into JJ's shop. Looking for weapons, of course. And of course we do find a weapon, but it is a 16 golder. I'm not really looking to spend 16 for the time being, so I'm gonna leave it as is. And we do run into another 16 type, which is a bit unfortunate. However, the javelin does give us a very interesting option. So when you haste, it reloads 1 ammo and every 5 seconds it does 180 damage. So since we are hasting the katana, we would get that 180 damage back. And then of course, since we are using an ammo item, it does gain 5% crit. So it may be beneficial for us to use that as well. And then the dive weights, I do believe we're going to keep the dive weights and we're going to keep the powdered flask. And the reasoning behind that is we're going to haste more items and we'll get more damage out versus just having 180. So we're just going to leave it alone as is. Hopefully we run into a curio and we can get the boots and then we'll be hasting an item for 2 seconds and it'll multicast, you know, 5, 4, so on and so forth.
You should know, I'm a legend on Pelagia. We're out to dethrone a king, not to squander.
All right, so 2,500 health, so we are slightly above in health. So it does look like it is a single weapon build and they do have the shark claws, so they do have scaling as well. Luckily, we will start doing poison damage as well, so that should start chipping away at them. And then let's see if we can catch up as we will start doing a big amount of damage, but I think they do outscale us. 3 seconds. It's a beefy claw right there. Alright, so we have skills unique to Vanessa, weapon skills, and free skills. We're running weapon builds. We're just gonna go with weapon skills. I've never had too good of luck with the other skills, specifically the Vanessa skills. So we can upgrade right-handed or we can use mixed message. So what I will go ahead and do is use mixed message as it will charge some of these items. It will help us go out a lot quicker. And then that is, you know, the plan is to burst as quickly as possible. Jump into JJ's shop. And we do get a Cove upgrade. So whenever we do upgrade Cove, if we do sell into it, it will start gaining extra value whenever we are selling items. So basically it starts souping up how the piggy bank portion of it works. So based on what we do have here, I think I'm just going to keep it like this. So I'm actually okay dropping the ramrod and the shotgun, and then I'll grab the Cove. And then I should have saved 1 item to sell just because, again, you will get extra money off of that. However, I decided just to upgrade the Cove. And then while we do have a weapon shop here, what I'm actually going to do, which may seem a bit odd, is go into the gumballs. And does the bronze silver? Oh, it sure does. Huh. I swear it used to scale. Did it not, Gordo? think diamond only nets you 2 gold. So it has come to my attention that it does not scale. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just leave it upgraded, but I'll go ahead and start selling gumballs. And the whole point for selling gumballs is to increase its amount that it is worth. So whenever we do sell it, we just have a bigger payout, but we are getting the benefits for buying the gumballs basically for free. And then we do have the Awakened District, Property Baron, and the Boss Haro. What I will go ahead and do is go into the Boss Haro. I am looking for mostly crit. And then he does have strength as well, which is going to increase our weapon damages a little bit more. Or hopefully we can get Keen Eye per chance. So hopefully we can get something that's just a little bit better than what we got. And it's going to help us on our build. So looking at our build, the haste isn't helping as much as it could. So what we may actually end up doing is throwing another weapon out there. And that's a perfect weapon right there. So it'll do 120 times 2. And if it does crit, that's a-okay. And it'll at least heal us for 240. While that may not seem like a lot, that may be the smallest amount that will help us out along the way. And then we will go to Jules, as she does have a strong brew that she can have. And it gives us our weapons 25 damage. Again, more healing, more damage, never anything terrible here. And then we'll go to the eating contest and get chocolate bars. And then again, we're feeding into that cove for the time being. And then given, if we run into specific vendors, we can always sell this, and 39 gold is actually quite a bit for us to use. And we are going against Baby. And if you've seen the movie Baby Driver, it's B-A-B-Y, Baby, you know what I'm saying? And let's see what it is. Restorative Beast of Burden. For some reason, I really thought that was going to be a money tree. All right, so we are going to get hit pretty hard here. Luckily, we do have a little bit of healing. We are scaling pretty quick, but the Beast of Burden is going to get us down just enough. All right, so we do get our enchantment. Alrighty. So let's see here. So we do have haste, and we do have random. So what are we thinking here? Random, I'm guessing. Does everybody think we should be hitting the random? See, 1 yes for random. So I'm thinking we should more than likely go random. But then now the question after that is, what item should we use and put it on?
I'm pleased to finally meet you.
You guys thinking the blowgun? Maybe the shadowed cloak, because we do use the katana. The runic bow, interesting. We could, if we do get anything that does damage, that would help out too. I do believe if we get burn or poison, it would be 14 damage. Let's see here. Let me look this up real quick. So I'm thinking I will more than likely random the shadowed cloak, because it's every time you use the item to the right, this effect will go off. So I'll go ahead and put it on here. So every time we use katana, we shield for 20. Not too bad. Not the world's best, but not too bad. And then we'll go for a gold tier loot item. And so we do get more poison. And so what we can do is go ahead and just sell it, and it will give us more damage for the blowgun. And then we will pick up a small weapon. Again, scaling as much as possible. And then our items are scaling down because it does seem that it does not like that we had a bonus damage last time. So, for last round. Alrighty. So we do have a tropical island. Not too bad. Does go for 24. So for us to grab it, it is quite expensive. So we will have to pass. And of course, shipwreck is quite interesting. And then we do have weapons here as well. So we're going to go ahead and grab the piranha, sell it back, and then it makes the grape shot free. So we just did all that for 8 gold and got a little bit more scaling. And we'll leave the loser ray there. And then we have the Lord of the Wastes, Property Baron, and then the Master Alchemist. I believe we can get through the Lord of the Wastes, so we'll go through him. The worst thing that we could possibly have, in my opinion, is the Foreboding Winds. But then again, if we get something like Pendulum, we could go crazy and put it next to the Blowgun and have a Poison-esque type build. Or we can maybe get the Magic Carpet and have that going off as well. So we do have options here. And we get the Magic Carpet. Nice. So I believe we will drop damage just for the time being, and we'll see how it goes. We are on our last life, so we're just trying to deal as much damage as we possibly can. And also 245 damage, and we will put this on the other side of the Switchblade, so we'll scale it as well. So the amount of scaling that we do have is quite crazy, to be honest with you guys. And then with things going off every single second, I think this is going to be quite interesting. And then so we can upgrade an item, or we can teach gold tier skills. And I think we will upgrade an item. I don't think lockbox is too crazy. Ayo, get get drum. I absolutely wish I could. Alrighty. Let's see here. So what I'll actually do is I'll go ahead and upgrade the Switchblade. It seems like a very odd thing for us to upgrade. However, with these both going off basically every single second, getting 12 damage all the time is not too shabby. Let's see what else we could get here. Double slow duration. This is an expensive reroll, but we will do it just to see if we get anything that's a repeat, and we do not. So we don't have anything that's going to necessarily help us out too much. And then this is our do or die moment, and it is against a Mac, so hopefully it's nothing too crazy.
I have faced 82 foes exactly like you.
Oh, he has faced 82 foes that are just like us, so this might be a little awkward. Alright, so luckily we will basically get this down to 1 second very quickly. Alright. There it goes. So the incense is definitely going wild. Keeping him above, giving him his regeneration. And of course the runic bow just going absolutely sicko mode on us. 63% crit. When you crit, your weapons gain 10. That's where. So 40 damage. And then when you slow, do you have anything that's slow? You do. Just 1, 2. Okay. So he's definitely stacking some slow, and he's definitely stacking as much weapon damage as possible. So that's not too bad. I don't mind losing to that. That's not that bad. Alright, so we do get 6 wins with Vanessa, a little out of practice, but again, trying to get that lockbox to work as much as possible. Got it up to 62. It was a bit low, and it being a medium does take up quite a bit of space, but we did go ahead and complete that make haste. And then I'll go ahead and jump into the pass, collect, and then we'll jump into another run. And then we do get a chest. And then for all you guys that are still here, I appreciate you guys sticking through the run. If you haven't followed, go ahead and drop a follow. And then we'll go ahead and jump into our free ranked run with Mac. Usually we do hit a 10 piece with our free run, but we'll see where we're at. If we do hit a 10 piece or a 7 piece, we do rank up to bronze 2. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with income, the most boring that you can start with. However, we do need to make sure we can guarantee that we get as far as possible. And then we'll grab the Aloodle. Potion kind of works if you have Recycle Bin. However, we're not running Recycle Bin for the time being, and Sword Cane is just a touch too slow for me. And then we do get the Leeches, and then we do get the Nightshade. So for demonstration purposes and also just to make life a little easier. Whenever you do use the nightshade, it will poison and it'll scale the leeches. And then whenever you use the leeches, it actually gives you heal because life still now counts as heal. So it will scale the nightshade and it's just an endless little loop between the two. So it'll give you a little bit of scaling. And in case we do need to pivot to femur, we will go for the Kyber drone. Hopefully we get the skill. If we do get the skill, awesome. Anything else, also awesome. It's the beginning of the game, so we don't have to think too much into it. Leech squeeze me. Yes, sir. And then for those of you guys that just have me on in the background doing your own Bazaar runs, how's your run going? You guys doing all right out there? You guys doing good? You guys on win 9 on day 9? You about to win day 10? Get your 10 piece. I see you guys out there. Don't think I don't. I see you guys. I see you. You have a bronze, silver, and gold revolver. That's what I'd like to see. That's what I'd like to see. Alrighty, so we do have small items here. And then we have the tiny furry monster and cache of riches. We're going to go ahead and go to the tiny furry monster because we do have a friend tag here. And then we'll play hide and seek and gain that extra XP. So what that'll do is it does seem kind of useless now. However, when we do get into the end of day 2, we should have enough XP if we are able to knock out the rogue scrapper to get us to level 3. And with Mac being level 3 on that day is pretty important. We'll jump into the lost crate and get ourselves a skill. It is relatively early on. And it does say your burn items will have +1 burn. We'll take it. You never know. Mac is quite crazy to go for here, especially whenever you're going for pivots or anything like that. And Gordo, I can definitely see the medium silver tier item being the go-to. However, the only quarrel I have with it at the current time is if I do hit the calcinator or if I do hit any item that requires my gold now, it will put me in a relatively bad spot. And most of Mac's silver tier medium or just mostly his medium items do need some kind of correspondence with something else. So we do lose day 1, not too bad. And then weapons deal 10 extra damage. We will go ahead and grab that as this is our life support for the time being. Alrighty. And then we will go ahead and drop the Elutal in there as it is just extra poison damage, which will also scale how much we heal. And then we also will still go for the furry tiny monster here, and we're going to get a little extra XP. And then we do have Kina, sells non-weapon items, the Mandala that can transform items into something new, and then we can invest in ourselves. What we will do is we actually will change this Long John into something else. And Ice Claw is back again, no problemo, but we will go ahead and shelf it for the time being, and we will go for the Rogue Scrapper. And again, with Mac, it is even more crucial for you to get the Rust start, as if you do have smelling salts, it will increase, or it will immediately give you a haste to the item to the left of smelling salts. It is a reagent for a Elutal. I like to live on the dangerous side, Gordo. Gordo, you're catching me slipping all the day. Gordo's catching me out today. I appreciate you, Gordo. You're getting me today. You're chopping me up. And we do get the junkyard repair robot again. And we'll go ahead and fix our little Nightshade and Elutal, because when Elutal is next to a potion or reagent, it gets a multicast. And then we can get a small weapon or potions. I will go to the jungled runes, and then I will get a silver tier reagent, and I get a poison one, not bad. And we can get a bronze tier potion, a loot item, or a bronze tier item. So before we decide, what I will actually do is drop the Hemlock down here and sell the Catalyst. So we do get a slowing potion, which is quite interesting. And so let's go for a bronze tier item. And then we do get a ruby, which does not quite fit our build for the time being, but for right now we can go ahead and use it. And then we could go to Andy for small items, but we're going to be a little greedy with XP again and go for the mountain pass. And we just get an uneventful moment, and we do get a free XP. All right, so we do go against Pig here. Pig is quite weird to go against, especially as nowadays, but it does look like he has heavy heal and shield. However, we're not going to worry about the shield too much because we do go ahead and get under that shield since we are using poison. But we will start knocking down the shield as well because since we do poison, we do scale our leeches. Luckily, we should start catching up relatively quick. However, the robe will start to tick up as well, just depending on what is going on. Since the shiny succulents does go off twice, it does make this essentially a 5-second cooldown, and then ATM goes off, so it's about a 4-second cooldown. Luckily, we do stack enough poison that it doesn't matter too much. All right, so lost day 1, won day 2. Let's see what we can get into for day 3. So you can go to Curio. Curio is very interesting. Chocolate bars and relax. So I am a little bit in a predicament here. So if you do go into Curio and you do get knee brace, you can start early and it is day 3. So I'm actually going to see if I can grab knee brace. This is a little odd and perfect. Knee brace right off the bat. So we're going to grab knee brace, and it will seem a little crazy at first, but we're going to grab knee brace. So whenever we do PvP fights, we will get 100 extra life. And that does help us out because, again, since we do have 100 life, it will help us out because let's say for tomorrow, if for whatever reason we didn't level today, for whatever reason, we would have 450 health after the PvP fight, which is very nice for us to have. Because again, if we can start scaling outside of normal Mac range, it will help us get rid of the squishiness that Mac does have. Alrighty, so let's see here. So I don't think I'm willing to spend any more money for the time being. And then I will pick up Fang, and I'll go ahead and drop the ruby, as 10 seconds for 3 burn isn't too crucial whenever I can do 15 damage every 3 seconds. So we'll just leave that alone as is. And then we do leave the gloves there because we do want a little bit of money. And then we'll go into skills and see where the game kind of wants to push us. So we have crit, weapons, and burn. So it seems like the game wants us to play burn. It has given us a couple of burn skills over and over again, along with a ruby, but we haven't ran into any burn items. So we're just gonna give our items 4% crit. That 4% crit can save us sometimes. And then for here, we will go against the eccentric etherite because we can knock down the shield due to the leeches scaling. And also this is early haste if we do get the skill. Otherwise, we do just get money from this fight. If we do get the force field, we can transform it later and possibly get a decent large item format, something that's more build defining. And then again, as in the last run, once I hit about day 5, I know if I'm gonna do a hard pivot or if I'm gonna continue doing what I am doing. So this will also help us out to deciding what's going on, given we run into the next transmute technically. So again, planning ahead, and we did get the goggles, which is not too bad, but it's not what we were really looking for. And as for the time being, we won't be able to slot the ice claw in due to the fact that we will need to put knee brace in. So we will go ahead and put knee brace in, and we will actually upgrade it. So instead of getting 100, 200. Yes, sir, Gordo. Yes, sir. We're going for the knee brace. And we do strike out twice with this, but we do get an upgrade on the nightshade. Beautiful, and we'd love to see it. And then we can upgrade another bronze item, or we can go for non-weapon items. So let's see here, or we can get more regen. I'm thinking we will probably upgrade the leeches just because that is our life support for the time being. And we do get to save a little gold. So tomorrow we'll start with 19. Given if we run into pole, you can get silver items on day 4 sometimes. Just kind of depends if you're lucky or not. And so with that being said, pole will give us a little more of a streamlined way to find out what we should be playing. Alrighty, so we do have Dooley here. He does look like he may go pretty sicko mode relatively quick. Luckily, we do hit the crit on that 5%er, but it is not enough. Insane crit for the leeches, though. W leeches. All right, look at that. 120. You just got a 10-piece with Drum, Obsidian Fang, Yo-Yo, Shiny Fang, and Dog. I could see that going absolutely insane, especially Shiny Fang next to Yo-Yo. Oh, I don't even want to think about it. Like that's just gross. It's gross. So I'll actually go ahead and change the goggles over into a different item that is mech, and it does seem like it's a noxious potion. So it is a 1-go, but it will help scale the leeches. So we'll just see how this goes. And then I will actually go ahead and sell our junkyard friend for the time being. Just because, again, we will jump into the eating contest and get a little more HP. We will spend the premium on it just because, again, we are a wet paper towel. Meet you in the bazaar. How about that? All right, let me run across you then. So we will grab a free small item, and unfortunately it is a sleeping potion that is bronze, so it will not upgrade. We are a touch too slow for the flame juggler, so we will go for the raider. You'd hate to see my ghost coming. Your ghost would hate to see me coming, bro. Your ghost wouldn't be ready for all sorts of spaghetti, brother. So we are keeping knee brace on there. I do have a very, very bad tendency to forget that to put the knee brace out there, so I'm just gonna leave it alone and leave it there. Again, we will see how our build is doing with the knee brace on there. So it's kind of just like a trial run with the monster PvE creature encounter, and then we kind of go from there. All right. So anytime we visit a merchant, gain health. So we visit merchants relatively quick. So that may be a good option, or the rightmost item has crit. And then of course, when you burn, your items gain 1% crit. So I'm not entirely sure why the game just wants to give us burn nonstop. A little odd. What do you guys think we should do? Do you guys think that we should start going into merchants and just gaining max HP since we are stacking with the knee brace? Or do you guys think that we reroll because we do have the knee brace? What do you guys think that we should do? I do see a max HP. Wet paper towel. I could see the argument for right eye as well, just because if you do have that, it is a 21% crit. So you could move the leeches over and then the leeches starts popping off, which heals us. And of course it does gain 15 damage every time you do poison. So that could help us out too. Let's see. So I think I will go with that max HP overall, just because I think us stacking as much as we can would be very beneficial to us. And then we don't have anything we necessarily want to transform. So what we're going to do is go see our boy Curio.
Just a matter of finding it.
And then of course we're going to buy our coconut and our free regen along with the blue nanas. And we will hit that refresh. Alrighty, we're gonna sell the claws because we're not gonna use it, or the ruby. We'll go ahead and get rid of that chocolate bar. It's taking up space, along with the coconut, the gland, and the blue nanas. And then we do have the shadowed cloak and the rocket boots. Let's see here. So we can get it to haste for 2 seconds, which isn't too bad, but it will have to use it first. I think what I will do is I will leave it alone as is for the time being. We will go ahead and actually put this on the nightshade because we will more than likely keep that longer than the eludal. And we will actually leave both of these items here for the time being. Actually, we'll pick up boots. We have a lot of items that will haste, and it's always for 1 second. So we'll see. Items being 2 seconds for haste is pretty good usually. Spare change, gumballs, and JJ. So we do have a little bit of wiggle room to go to JJ's and see if we can add on to the build. So we do get a frost potion along with a show globe. Poppy Fields. Very interesting. Poppy Fields is for 12. It is a little bit costly. However, if we do that, we actually can drop this entire left side, and then the Fang will start scaling the leeches for us, which is not too bad. JJ does sell some items. I was actually relatively surprised. I mean, I thought he just, you know, sold emotions, and he sells items. All right, so we're gonna kind of get a little crazy with it. We're gonna see if we can get a different silver tier item, and we get another potion. No problem. We will end up 1 gold short, which is quite unfortunate if we do it this way. So we may tank our build here by doing this, and I should have kept that potion now that I'm thinking about it. But it's okay. And let's see here. I don't have any other potions. So for the time being, when we do get another potion, we will use this, and everything is scaling into the leeches for the time being. And again, the knee brace is here just for moral support. All right. Let's see what Dooley has in store for us. Rocket launcher, pretty normal nowadays. Items to the right of this, and so 51. So we will be getting hit relatively hard, relatively quickly. Luckily, everything we do does give us, you know, scaling for the leeches, but I don't think we'll be able to attack twice. Unfortunate, truly. Alrighty. So I think we need to start playing into weapons. We are on day 5, so we should just start playing into weapons and see what we can get. Let's see, here has 1 multicast if it's adjacent to a friend, double this if it's your only friend. Say less, my boy. And that's every 5 seconds. Oh, say less, my boy. Okay. And then we will get some chocolate bars, because at this point we are HP stacking. And then we will go against the Gorgon Noble. If we get any of her skills, it actually is super beneficial to us. And then Ballast Fang is another thing that we can just add down here. We can actually drop the dagger. I feel like this pulse rifle is finna go crazy. So we are scaling our leeches pretty hard, which is not too bad. Maybe start getting some, you know, some loot items. Hopefully get that cooldown. Maybe. Let's see here. So we just get more ammo. Anyone else upscaling they leeches? We out here, bro. We're scaling leeches, brother bear. We'll go ahead and get the poppy field going, and we'll go see Finn, surprisingly. And we'll get 81 health, but we'll also get 5 regen. Help us out just a little bit, and then we'll go into a deadly duel. Perfect. Just the thing we like to see. So hopefully we can run into the cloak, and then maybe put the cloak on the pulse rifle, and then we can drop these 2 items here, and then we just have basically non-stop scaling on that pulse rifle. All right, not bad. Right, let's see what is going on. So we just get more crit, no problemo. And then we do go against a pig. All right. So we're just gonna go ahead and put this on the leeches, because our boy will definitely need to be doing more damage. And we'll go ahead and jump into it. Get our free 200 HP, whether we're collecting 200 and going past go. Either way, we're collecting 200. Either way. So it does look like we have a burn build. We see 1 matchbox, but not a second one. And they will be shielding quite heavily and freezing us. So again, we will need to work relatively quick. Luckily, since we do have the leeches scaling, we should be able to stay alive just a touch. But not too much longer. So we are just a touch slow. We will need to start going into Andy shops, maybe some of the weapon shops. we do need to see if we can start getting some type of other weapons going on with this build. Otherwise, we will be having a very poor run. And then we will go ahead and transmute this over into a new item. Interesting. So I'm not transforming reagents for the time being, but we'll leave it alone as is. And upgrade a silver tier or lower item. We're going to go ahead and, as much as I want to do poppy fields, we'll just do the knee brace. And the whole goal here is to get to level 10 and have this at diamond, which then will give us 400. And then the only enchant for knee brace is shiny. So then we will go for a shiny enchant and get 800 HP a day. And then hopefully at that point, we should be scaling quite quickly. We do pick up a spider mace. We love to see it. Go for a refresh here. And we do go for a quicksilver. So this can be a 50-50 brick. But while we're doing NPC fights, we'll just go ahead and put that in here. And if we get a fang, cool. We get a spider mace, cool. So we do have the infernal here. And we do have the trash golem and the dire inglet. We will go for the dire inglet because of the skill. Again, when you use a weapon, you'll get 4% crit. Or if we get a claw, or if we get an obsidian fang, I'm cool with either. And then in the off chance that we get the eagle talisman, we could just go ahead and put that on the leeches for 25% crit. And then we'll just see how that goes. We did get 2 fangs out of that. And we get claws, not bad. Alrighty, so we can get 2 extra income or go to non-weapon items with Kina. Everything that we're using is weapons, but the only reason why I will be going into Kina is to try to see if we can get an upgrade on poppy fields, which is going to be more than likely not, but it never hurts to look. And then, of course, we will jump into the weapon shop. Upgrade leeches. Beautiful. We will grab the floor spike and hit the refresh. Okay. So while this is 5 seconds, we will go ahead and change this out here. Just because we will need to use the knee brace. And so we do want to have things that attack relatively quick. So we are able to use the spider mace as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So hopefully we do burst down quite quick enough so then we can get the spider mace online. We may be a touch too slow on it though, especially going against dualies. Is that, let's see, mantis, not too bad. So he does have quite a comprehensive build going on here. We do have to be careful because he will start shielding more. So luckily we are doing quite a bit of poison damage and we are scaling up our leeches like crazy. Weasel, I completely agree with that statement. If I went against a bone build right now and I got boned, I would not be a happy camper. See, the worst thing is whenever you get there and you just see a femur and you're just like, this is how it ends, huh? Alrighty, let's go into JJ's shop, see what he has. Worst case, we do get 12 gold for it. Nothing here particularly that we need. Speaking of the bone, you see the bone, be the bone. We will keep... Very interesting. You've made it to silver. Congratulations, brother. I'm trying to get there too. I'm about to be bronze 2 after this if I continue doing well. All right, so 20% crit. I'm here for it. And then let's see, sells weapons. Sure. Wow, they really want me to go for that femur, huh? 8 gold. We're not going to be using this. We're not going to be transmuting anything. And then when you crit, charge this 2 seconds. So 24. I don't think we crit enough for this to really be going off, to be honest with you. So we will re-roll. We'll leave those alone as is. And we will go for bonk. So I usually do like to go for the Radiant Corsair because again, it will pop off quite crazy, but I will just go for the Thug for the time being. because Bonk, as I have said plenty of times, Bonk in this current meta of enemy cooldowns are increased by 1 second is actually relatively OP. Contrary to belief, it is actually pretty OP. So we do wash this thug. Washing the thug, I'm afraid. And we do get extra slow. Not what we're looking for currently. And then we will fight another monster. Although we do have the opportunity to get a Poppy Fields, we do get blessed with this opportunity for a Floor Spike or Poppy Field. And then again, if we have anything else from him, it is okay. It'll be fine. We'll work through it. Luckily that whenever we do heal, which would be the leeches, we would charge a poison item for a second. So we'd be charging the Floor Spike for 2 seconds. Alrighty, let's see what we get. Floor Spikes, but it's 2 separate Floor Spikes. Beautiful. Alrighty, so we are doing a little bit of waving back and forth with our build, which is no problem. And then let's see here, upgrade a bronze item. That would just be the Fang, which isn't necessarily needed. We won't go back to Pulse Rifle, and upgrading the Rocket Boots doesn't help us out too much. And then so what we will do is just get a poison item. It is free 99. We do get Whaaat, very nice, but we won't be using it. And we do get to go ahead and drop the cooldowns of everything by 4%. Not bad. Not too shabby if you ask me. All right, let's see what Pix has in store for us. So given if we do have if they have a relatively slow build, which looking like it, they don't have a slow build, but they don't have necessarily a fast build, but we do have quite a bit of HP. Thank you, knee brace. So we may actually survive through this. Luckily, they do have a lot of weapons, which will set basically our build off. We have the poor man's caltrops is what we have actually. Beautiful, love to see it. Alrighty, so we have that 3686 because we are gaining HP per day. Go into JJ's shop, get as much as we can. We will pick up the Quicksilver. This may sound kind of crazy since we are kind of rolling people depending on who it is. If it is another Vanessa, I may drop the Fang and drop the Quicksilver in there. If it does hit knee brace, we would gain 600 max health. I don't know if it'll work. I'm kind of just playing with it for now, but we'll see if it works actually. Femur for the 3rd time. Interesting. I don't know, Gordo, I don't know if you know off the top of your head if that will work. But if you do know, I would like to know if you happen to know. Alrighty, so we will go for Dragon. It should be a relatively quick fight. If we do get the Dragon's Heart, we will not be pivoting, unfortunately. We'll be leaving with our current build. All right, so we are slow rolling up, but our leeches definitely does hit like a truck. Double the burn of an item. Interesting. Ah, Dragon Wing. Not bad. Enchant an item with haste. Or we just enchant an item. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that we should go for haste or random? What do you guys think, chat? Let me know. Keep in mind, whichever one we do, we could put it on Poppy Fields. So anytime we use a weapon, whatever enchant that is on Poppy Fields would be able to go. And then, so for instance, Haste Poppy may be the play. You guys thinking Haste Poppy? Actually, hear me out, guys. What if we random, but we put it on the knee brace, right? And it turns into a shiny knee brace, right? Hear me out. Hear me out, guys. All right. All right, we're in, boys. Not diamond, but 600. Shoo, for the 600. See what's in the med gym items. Nothing too wild. So what we're actually going to do, I don't think, let's see, at the start of each day. So we're gonna grab this a loodle because we're gonna need a catalyst for whenever we do need to change this. You know how many times I've roasted you for a knee brace? I have, yeah. 100%. And I'd do it again, and I'd do it again, and I would do it again. All right, so we do kind of brick on most of these options. We could go extract, and we could get poison, or we could level up. My thought process is we take the level up because we do sell for 8, so we do get 8 gold, and we do level up a little more HP. And then on top of that, if we do get a loot tier item from that, it could still be that extract. So I think we're just gonna go with Vial of Blood. Toxic streamer, no. Honest streamer, brother bear. Oh no, hold on. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if they fixed it. So if you actually get the XP to level before jumping in for a PvP fight, it will keep you at that level. And then the game will level you up whenever it wants to. So I'm not entirely sure if it'll let us level up. It does not. Okay, well, we'll see how this goes. And then we're gonna run the dream team of having this out there. And we'll see how this goes. If we get another knee brace, I'm very, very, very interested to see if we will get extra life. But we got to see what it turns into first. We do have a frost build, so we may actually outpace them a little bit. It's just another floor spikes, not bad. So this should actually, for the most part, charge itself, I think. So freezes don't do too much to us. Given if we can attack at least once, right? No bueno. All right, so we do have 0 prestige. It's okay. Gain huge amounts of health. Beautiful. Love to see it. Always enchant. And then what do you guys think about just a random enchant on Poppy Fields? Because we're back at it, right? We have the shiny knee brace. Random on the Poppy Fields. Are you guys on board with that? Random it. Weasel, I don't know why I've never thought about that. I should probably random enchant the knee brace, huh? Huh. Huh. Interesting. Oh, shield. So not bad. We will go ahead and get ourselves a lit. Hey, sir. Or a big brainer. Alrighty. So when you freeze, slow poison, regeneration, extra poison for each potion. We're not even using potions. We're just going to refresh on this. Slow, charge a regen, potion. None of these work for us, brother. So we're just gonna get a random potion every day. We'll just get the free economy, right? Econ. All right, let's see what we get here. So we do get a bottled lightning, and not bad. And then we'll just go for medium items. Throne net is always pretty good depending on what you have going on. It's a good enabler for the spider mace as most people run friends or weapons currently. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the throne net. I'm not gonna put it in just yet, but it does have that opportunity. And then we will go into the weapon vendor. Oh, wow. Obsidian Sunlight Spear. Nice. Interesting. Femur again for the 47th time.
I hope you live
The Viper Fang is definitely quite interesting. And we're actually going to go for the Elite Duelist here. So yeah, oh, I should have put Femur in net. You're right. Femur net, and then I could have just got an incense and I would have had the board. I can't believe I've done this. On the bright side, as long as the salts doesn't hit, or not the salts, the Quicksilver doesn't hit the knee brace, I think we kind of go hard in the paint. Ah, shoe blade. Alright. We'll go for a rare event. Sells enchanted items. Sure. Huh. Interesting. Okay. This is an interesting moment. No, oh, I gotta think now, dude. Okay. Okay. Let's do some math here, right? Every time a weapon goes off, we're charging the mace, depending on what weapon we're using, 4 seconds, right? Floor Spike goes off, 4 seconds on Spider Mace. And these two will go off at the same time, so 8 seconds. And then by the time this attacks again, it's gonna reset itself. These two will give each other a second, and if this transforms into this, it'll give it another second, and then this one will go off, so it'll be 3 seconds, and then that triggers this one. I think despite what we're doing, I think, see, that's exactly what I'm kind of thinking, because again, at the end of the day, actually, I think it may be Spider Mace instead of in between the spikes, but you may be onto something there, Weasel. Ooh, not that. Okay. So we're gonna leave this alone for just a hot second. More XP. Yeah, I'll have to do math real quick. Give me a second. Let me just finish this out. We will go ahead and do the free loot item. Beautiful. It's less fun when you look that hard into it. We'll run it. We'll run it. Just because I think that net's gonna, especially with the Vanessa. Vanessas have a bunch of weapons, right? At least 1, 2. Let's see. So just 1, and it has a friend, so it goes off 4 times. Oh, beautiful. And it goes off 4 times to have this go off. Easy peasy. It's like Nike, bro. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it, bro. So we do need to start upgrading our poppy field yesterday now. Yeah, this seems like it's an automatic, just rapid fire. So I'm just gonna go with that, and we're just gonna roll with that, and then we're gonna keep stacking HP. We're gonna keep doing what we're doing. We're gonna exist, you know. Yeah, I know. We'll go into the Medium shop because we're gonna try to get another pendulum or a net. That'd be pretty good. Ah. All right. So we're basically just looking to upgrade our build as much as possible at this point. I think this is what I want to end with. Hello? There you go. I wish, but no. Okay. Frost Street, we get rolled. Property Baron kind of isn't really what we need. I think we're just gonna go with Property Baron. I think this can hold a crit chance if I'm not mistaken, so we'll just go ahead and do that and see how that goes. Yeah, that hurts. I might have took that punch like that didn't hurt, bro, but that hurt. We might not clear this. Yeah, we're not clearing this. So it is a bit slow if they don't have another weapon. It may be time for us to drop this knee brace, actually. I think it's time for us to drop the knee brace, actually. Yeah, that's definitely true.
Melting away impurities. A thing of true beauty.
You have to commit. Like, I know we can go for the pendulum, but like, you just have to commit. That's just how it goes. You just have to. Sometimes you just have to commit. You know. Another pig. We'll run it like this. I mean, we have almost 8,000 HP, right? Like, can you imagine running into a Mac with 7.1k HP? I mean, given going against a pig is not. I have almost double the amount. Oh, you're a B build. Oh, this is beautiful, dude. Okay, I'm cool with this, 100%. Oh, that hurts. Hold on. Wait. Hey, hey. Ah! See, when your enemy uses a weapon, charge them 2 seconds. Just slap myself in the face. Big rip to the run. I should have went slow femur, brother. I should have went slow femur. Hey, I got my quest done, or my daily done. Nice. Bees are the property baron of pig builds. I could definitely see that. I definitely could see that. We'll play. Oh, I don't have one more. Oh wait, I got to go into the pass. Actually, I think it's. Or did I not even hit the level? No, I didn't hit the level. Unfortunate. Let's see if we can get one from here. All right, let's see what we get. 85. That's the first time I've seen more than 35, actually. Hey, I got a new playing mat. You said the lantern skin? Let's see. This one, right? Yeah, I think most of these look pretty cool. I think lantern probably is one of my more favorite ones. Let's see here. I think this one looks pretty cool too, actually. Anytime I actually go against the NPC that has this, I always look at it. And then I'm getting obliterated because I'm playing small item mech. I think Spices looks nice too. It's all sparkly. Alright. Let's see here. Not that. It's a nice little rug. I think I'll change it. I'll change it up. I'll change it up. The carpet. Oh, it's a gold. What? Ow. And I forgot to check to see what this was for 1 second. Hold on. Hold on. Let's see, 35. So I had a 0.9% chance. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Let's see how close we are. Woo! We're a bit of ways. We're a bit of ways. Challenges we have. Upgrade 20, I'm done. I'm not starting that many hours. There's no shot. Right? 3, 4, 5, 5. Oh, I might be able to do that. I just got to kind of slow roll it as much as possible. We'll run it with a normal mech. We'll try to play femur build. It's always about the bone. We're bone boys. How many? Oh, let me double check. I keep meaning to check and I just don't. Oops. $124 hours. Yikes. I've played this game for 5 days, technically, nonstop. It's beyond easy. This game, I was telling someone at work, I was like, bro, this game, like, because I found out they were a PC gamer too, and I was like, this game, like, just no matter what, just time is just gone. Doesn't matter, just gone. No matter what you do, hours and hours will just be sucked away from you, and you'll never know. It's just gone. DED, dead, you know. But hey, I mean, I'll tell you right now, for 124 hours, I've been having fun. All right, take the early dub. Let's go for trained. Come on, give me trained. We're forcing the femur build, baby. Let's go. All right, femur build. Let's get it. You guys already know what we're going for. I ain't even trying to hide it, bro.
That's been sitting there 20 years, waiting for you.
All right, we're gonna take that little bit of a regen. Actually, might be the only thing that saves us, low key. All right.
Bodies are just containers.
For 1 second. Yikes. All right. Let's see what happens here. Luckily, we do have scaling, but Vanessa's probably going to destroy us. Gonna rip us a new one more than likely. Likely. Jellyfish of all things. Jellyfish, really? And you get the silencer? You're wild. Get out of here. Get out of my face, bro. Just give me my early loss, bro. Just put the loss in the bag, bro.
All cannon, no ball.
Oh, cannon, no ball. I'm a frail 8,000-year-old man, dude. And you're talking about all cannon, no ball. Yeah, bro. I'm a glass cannon, dude. I got 210 HP on day one. Like, Jesus. Oh, solid.
I will defeat death itself.
All righty. So we're gonna go ahead and start putting it on our weapons. Put that there. Small and mediums. Man. Okay. Hear me out. We may need to do a little bit of finagling here to get a somewhat concurrent build here.
Not too big, not too small. Perfect.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, I think the 16 low-key kind of goes off a little bit more.
I've got 4 legs because I carry.
Nah, I don't need to order the casket. I'll get my way out of here, actually. All right, so we got to wait on the level up. We do enough damage, I think, to get through this. We should have enough regen because of the potion. We should get the Rogue Scrapper. Our skill's a little bit useless right now, but we'll be okay. We are doing 16, and it gets multicasted twice, so we are doing 32, which isn't too bad. It may have been more beneficial to put the other poison out there, the other potion out there. Yeah, I think we actually may put the other potion out there because dealing was 16, 32, 48 poison every 7 seconds may actually go kind of hard in the paint.
Another specimen for my collection.
Yeah, I think that's actually what we're gonna end up doing here. Can you get silver items on day 2? I think you can, right? Weasel, do you remember off the top of your head if you can get silver items on day 2? I think so too. I want to see if I can hit the femur early. I'm just trying to see if I can hit the femur early is all. That's fine. I don't know if we can hit it early. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think we can hit the femur early, actually. I'm not like I said, I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think so. Probably not. Silver items day 2? Nah. No can do. We're actually gonna upgrade this, believe it or not. I've already influenced you. What? Oh, we didn't get another experience. All right, so we're gonna come into this a little low. Luckily, the reload potion should be hasted at all times. So we do get one regen every 2 seconds, which sounds terrible on paper. Shield, what a nerd. Imagine using shields, dude. The lady with the... Oh, okay, I see, said the blind man. Wow, we actually rinsed a Vanessa day 2? Wow. Wowzers. We'll go for a bronze tier item. And we get a calcinator. All right, let's see. Right? Change this item over, actually. Not bad. I mean, I guess we don't technically. All right, let's see here. Potions. Potions may not be too bad. We don't necessarily get anything out of it, so let's just get free HP. And then we'll go to JJ's shop. I think he sells items. I'm not entirely... What is up with giving me all of, like, the large items now? Where was this in ranked? Non-existent is where it was. Can't believe they've done this to me, truly.
So, how about this weather?
And I think we'll leave it like this. I don't even think that we'll grab the sapphire. Okay, so we do run into the issue with the Aetherite because we don't do damage per se. Do we risk it for the biscuit on this though? Low key, isn't this just better, right? 2 seconds for 4 seconds, so that means this will always be going off versus every 7 seconds. So that's 48 every 7 seconds. Versus 32 every half. Maybe we'll leave it like this. I'm not entirely sure. We'll leave it like this and we'll just roll for it. It's fine. We do get the 2 regeneration from this, and it should be hasted enough that it automatically goes off too. Alright, so it's off to the races. Interesting. So we do get an item right here. This Aloodle's actually going quite crazy. It's going sicko by itself. Medium and large items. We don't necessarily need medium and large. Sell small items for a little more. We'll just see what you have, brother.
Sell you things.
We're not interested, brother. Small non-weapon item. Sure, we're gonna need to have something right there. Oh, that's fine. Sure.
After all these centuries,
Sure. All right. Drop this in there. What we actually will do is upgrade that calcinator.
with more time,
You forgot pizza. Oh no. Wow. Wow. That's just a party foul, brother. Can't believe you would just forget the pizza like that. Oh my goodness. Not like this, brother. Excuse me. All right, so we got Matchbox Boy. Air fried pizza rolls on our Caesar salad. That doesn't sound too terrible. I've heard worse. Oh, we're definitely getting rinsed on this. This is what I'm going against, and I like how Mac is apparently too OP. Interesting. The most college student food you've ever heard. All right, so we do need to start pivoting into our femur if it is at all possible. Medium and large items. I don't necessarily have anything for you to do, brother. I'm cool with that. That's fine, actually.
do you have any really
Oh, I should have waited a second.
things?
Interesting.
Where's Midsworth?
Okay, so we will keep this for the time being because when we jump into shops, it will automatically transmute items into a potion, but I think we should be okay. And then we may end up just going against the Blood Reef Raider. Fang and a yo-yo? Oh no, she's pig gaming. Pig gaming with the Fang and a yo-yo with the drum. Alright, let's see how this works out. So that's not that bad. I think I still stack up a little bit more. Did you get dog again too? So if this is the case and what is going on, let's do this. We'll just take gold. Dang, you got the whole same build again. You wild. You wildin' out there. I'll take the moth meal. I'll pass on you. No, I'm missing. Okay. Shrinking potion. It's kind of tragic. Okay. We have a build going here, but do we want to be greedy with it? We'll just sell this right here. We should still get a reagent from this. We do have the gold for it since we didn't spend here. Let's just see what else we have. First time we burn, freeze. I'm not a big fan, but I need to sell something else. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Why not?
I hope we can do this again.
And we'll just keep it like this. And that way we should be critting and be doing, let's see, instead of 60, you'll have 120 poison. I think that would be the best way to go about this. I'm ready to run into your pig build. To be honest, Amelie. I've been over here at the playground and you just haven't showed up.
Land legs make
Man, I'm not ready. Okay.
straight lines.
Okay. I'm trying, but you ain't showing up. I've been waiting at the playground for like 6 days, dude. You just haven't shown up. Man, you ain't rested and ready. You scared. You scared. Let's see what we get. Oh, slow Ruby. Come on, game. We're gonna leave it alone as is.
The Bazaar's a crazy place, right?
Gator ain't play, brother. Gator ain't play. Alright, so that's a little no bueno. We're gonna take this off, move this up here. How do we get another one? But that's for 4 seconds, so yeah, we'll go ahead and switch that out. I ain't mad about it. Leave that there. So you feel like we're speaking a different language? Slow an item for 3 seconds. Slow an item for a second.
If that doesn't work out for you, come
We're just gonna go for it. We're just gonna rip it. Just rip the band-aid off here. Skill upgrades. So the only thing we'd really want is probably trained, right? I don't know how much it would be though. 5 and 10. I'll just take the 5 for the crit. And then we should be able to knock out Mod Squad. We'll have to work relatively quick because we put ourselves on a timeline with the 7 second. But we should crit with this almost right out the gate. Okay, so we just need to get a lot more slow. Which one of you clowns is Mom Farmer? That's me, I apologize. I was acting out, I was young and stupid back then when I named myself that. I do apologize. Holy discounts for peace. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and say goodbye to this. Drop this down here because we will need to heal. We are grabbing that Amber Fesho. And we will drop this. Maybe beneficial to drop the Aludel here in just a second. The Aludel, or whatever you want to call it.
closer, closer. I can hear my sister's laughter.
The Other Guys is a good movie. That's such a good movie. Silver, yeah, we'll change something into silver, why not? Small non-weapon, why not? Alright, so we do have the gold to get another item. We probably won't be using powder flask. Well, we'll drop this, move this over, and we'll do this actually, because I'd rather have the crit. And this should be good. We do have slows, which is scaling our femur. We're bone boys. So he does have scaling, so we're gonna be relatively quick-ish, but we will have 80 poison. Well, actually more than that. Bonk. I don't think I'm gonna get that last bonk as a crit. 420! Sorry, that had to have been said. I'm sorry. I apologize. A show. Like, do you just ever look at the clock and you just look at it and you're just like, 420? Yeah, I do it all the time, truly. It's kind of hard not to. We'll drop the infinite potion, and then we're gonna move Aiden over and actually sell him. We did not get our chunk of lead. We got robbed, but it's okay. It's cool. We ain't mad about it. We out here though. So small and mediums.
How do you hugelings use these things?
Okay, and the damage on femur was 420. Hello.
Huge things!
Alrighty, we're not gonna be using this. Let's go for the Enclave Whipper. She said blaze it. No, I'm just kidding. Weasel, you can have all that shield. I still do poison damage, brother. And also, my femur scales, sir. That's why you have 0 wins. Hey, bro, you have a sleeper build. It goes out, it pops off later on.
Cover them all.
Yeah, Weasel says he has 0 wins. What he forgot to there's a 1 in front of that 0. We'll try to start getting slow, extra slow. I don't want damage. I don't want poison. Come on, Curio. I thought we were homies, bro.
The Bazaar's half-buried junk. It's up to us to use it.
We need to get in. We should have went to Andy.
For the Bazarian Defense Corps!
That's unfortunate. We're gonna use that item to the right of this, charge item to the left of this 1 second. That's fine. Lead. No, Weasel, you need the lid. Not the ladle, you need the lid. Oh, did I break the game again? You need the lid. Point blank, brother. Just the lid. All right, pig boy. What you got for us?
In 100 years when you are dust, I will remain. I should warn you.
Mac, chill out. You can't even hold more than 10 items inside your inventory talking about you'll be dust. Your kneecaps are already dust. Your legs are a collapsible lawn chair. And you're as strong as a wet paper towel. I don't want to hear from you talking about in 100 years. You probably won't even make it 100 years if you keep losing fights like this, brother. You've won two fights out of the 6. Like, you're running a hatchet? Someone wrecked me with the hatchet earlier. Hey, don't sleep on the hatchet, brother. Yeah, I'm saying Max over here with the, with orangutan titties, no nipple having ass, but no. Let's see here. Get some haste and slow items. Oh. That's tragic. Alright, well. It happens to the best of us, I guess. You can report and unfollow if you want. It's up to you, pimp. I ain't gonna tell you how to live your life. I'm not your real dad. I can't tell you. Stop moving so fast. I just screwed myself too. Beautiful. Love to see it. Love to see it. Love to see it. Love to see it. Unfortunate.
I see everything.
Right. See, skill upgrades again. Hey, W hatchet. Can I get a W hatchet in the chat? I'm over here stacking crit as if I'm not having a crit potion right here. W hatchet. Joyful Jack doesn't really have anything for us when you heal. Charge a poison item. I guess technically that works out for us right now. Viper Tyrant. No, let's go with Chili Charles. We'll be fine. We'll take the extra XP. Wow, this throws off our timer. That's unfortunate. We do get a bonk out there. Unfortunate, unfortunate. Yeah, this guy's actually getting our timer completely thrown off. It's actually relatively unfortunate. No can do, no es bueno. Hey, look, Icy hammock. Let's see. Heal 100. Oh, it's because it's, yeah. I was like, wait a second. I was like, there's no way because you put it between 2 items. Say, got him. Right, we're not gonna be using that. Another crit potion. No, we're not doing anything with that. And then that's this is a slow. Easy because I talk too slow. Well, I think this is time for a Loodle to be resting pepperonied. Alright, so we need this to be there, and I'll haste the item on the left. Alright. Let's see, we're cooking. It's beautiful. Love to see it. And then we're gonna upgrade a bronze item. Shout out to B1 and B2. I appreciate you guys coming out. I think you guys stopped coming out on day 8. I appreciate you helping me out, getting my instance going. Big preach. Oh, did I leave myself a space in my inventory? Oh, I did. Okay, cool. Planning ahead. Yeah, boy. Oh, no. The fact that you already... Oh, well, it's day 7. I guess it's not unheard of. I have a diamond item, too. I was like, this man has a diamond item, dude. And then I also have a diamond item. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? You got a diamond item, brother. Yeah, back in your day, let me tell you, they used to upgrade all the bronze items, and let me tell you, B1, B2 was popping, bro. They were absolutely out here, bro. And now, they're not. Hey, I'd leave Weasel alone. He had to fight uphill going and playing Vanessa, and also play Vanessa coming downhill as well, okay? So, yeah. You gotta watch your tone. I don't think I need any weapons. Oh. Nah, well. Technically. Right? Technically. $24.
Use it well. Make
Okay.
me proud.
Okay. Okay. We'll get a little bit extra HPs. Get Mr. Bouncertron. Okay, let's see how this goes. We may still be fine. We may have too much going on. Luckily, we crit no matter what we do. So I think we just need to change this haste potion for another potion that's gonna just give us more slow. Use a weapon, Say less. Say less. You can't talk to me this way because I'm officially a silver. I mean, he's not wrong. He's kind of spitting. I can't argue with this. He's spitting, bro. He's speaking. Hey, look. I ain't make the rules, brother. I just break them. I ain't make the rules. I do have 10 gold for me to do that. We'll get to 12. I think it's with 3 gold for the calcinator. I don't have 3 gold. That's unfortunate. Okay. Oh, wee lad with 50 hours in the game. You ain't wrong. Oh! What an item. What an item to get, let me tell you. Said, let me tell you about my best friend.
And I will punish you.
All right. So we do have to act relatively quick. We will start getting burned quite heavily very quickly. We will heal up. I think we do have enough slow for us to get back around. We do. Right, so we do kind of... Dooley caught all sorts of hands. He probably caught a foot in there somewhere too. With the way that went off, bro, it definitely caught a foot or something in there too. I'm not looking for med gem items. I'm just gonna take the regen. And then non-weapon items. Sell me some stuff that slows. Poppy fields. Sell me some stuff that slows. None of those slow. I will go buy a weapon instead, 100%. Oh wait, I don't even need these items together. I have 100% crit chance. Okay. I think I can get an upgrade on this. Right. Okay, so what would I like to have? When you use a weapon with lifesteal, freeze a smaller item. Yeah, I'm down for that. I mean, double freeze on there. I'm cool with it. I'd be here with it. Wow, what a rat, dude. You would freeze me just enough. Get nay-nayed. Oh my god, stop. You keep healing all the damage I do to you. Alright. I don't know what you want to give me, but whatever you want to give me, I guess. Oh. Okay.
Another step forward on my
Okay, if you say so. Getting the whole game together to beat you down. Got the veteran octopus riding shotgun and JJ in the back. Oh, you're right, most item. Alright, let's see what happens. See if we can get anything else going. Another slow item. Perhaps we miss. We break. Alright, Queso. Talking about 8 foot tall. Alright. Calm down, Queso. It's a weird way to say I got the horses in the back.
You remind me of someone I fought last century.
No can do. No es bueno. You guys are wildin'. You guys are absolutely... Dang. He said JJ sells items, bro. How are you going to respond to that? I don't think there's a way to respond to JJ selling items, to be completely honest with you, dude. Once JJ selling items, dude... Hey, we can't be just talking about nipples on Twitch like that, bro. Like water. What are you doing? I can't believe this. Let's get a slow item. Don't mind if I do. Gets me the worst slow item I can get. It'll take some extra laugh. Gold tier. Oh, beautiful. I love to see it. He donated them to those in need because he's a genuine guy. Hey, I mean, he's spitting. He's not wrong. I don't need crit. Does give damage, though. I don't know if we can take Volcus Enforcer, but we're going to try, actually. You freeze, your items gain 3% crit. It's fine. Luckily, if all my stuff gets frozen and I'm at half HP, I will break out of the freeze because of the skill I got. I don't think the... Ooh! What a hit. 43 life short. Unfortunate. Mm-mm-mm.
Hello, little sentient.
Hello, little sentient. Not necessarily looking for either of these items. And sure, we can just upgrade this. Have something a little gold. Hey, Weasel, it happens to the best of us, brother. Sometimes you have to shig sham with the wigwam. You should have zigged when you should have zagged, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around, and that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying?
I will leave you alive to learn the lesson.
Sometimes you just have to dance with the one that brought you, you know? Green wasp, toxic first aid in, the drill. Of course you're gonna be using the drill and everything like that. Of course, brother. Not even original, dude. Stop, you're scaring him, Patrick. Ooh, just enough, but I'm gonna die anyways. He's like saying a lot of scary kid words. You act like I'm over here reciting Rap God or something, bro. I'm just here, brother. I'm just existing. I'm over here drifting through the cosmos, just like the rest of us.
Terrifying.
Oh, I forgot that I'm transforming something. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that.
I guess. Did you know sail and fail rhyme? Sail, fail, fail, sail.
More max HPs. Alright, so we're gonna go for that trash titan for show. It will unfortunately charge 2 items, but again, just charging a large item by using a small item. Just beneficial. Not bad. So if someone has about 3k HP, I will double crit. As long as they're not healing or anything.
Brawl these streets. With each new
Anyone else up discharging the small items? Something like that, truly. I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade an instance, but I'm gonna upgrade the one that has double slow duration. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Know what I'm talking about? Alright, Andy. Do something for the one time. Nothing for the one time, per usual. Alright, let's see here. That does slow. Almost wondering if that's better for the haste, but I don't think it is.
If you want something big and ugly, go see Pole.
Get a haste item, not necessarily needed. Small and large. Again, what do we get here? Regen potion. Amber, perfect. Happy to exploit you. I mean, help. I mean, help. All right, Mac versus Mac. Let's see. Bonk versus. Oh, it's a silver boy, so he has something to prove. All right, let's see here. Poppy Field. All right, Floor Spike. Ouroboros. Okay. Oh, what an energy potion there, bud. What an energy potion there.
the lesson you learned today. I learned a
It's just enough slows too. 6 slows. Yeah, that's 12 seconds. That's already a free go. That's unfortunate. And then when you poison extra, oh yeah, homie's just stacking. I ain't even mad about it, dude. Homie has it going on. Might as well call him Stacy's mom because he has it going on. Burn. We're actually gonna drop the freeze. I don't find us a reason to have the freeze. Like the freeze is great and all, but it's not helping us too much, unfortunately. What's up, Weasel? Why are we being a sad Larry? Don't need a med gem item.
If I don't have what you need, I'll help you find who does.
Bottled tornado. Unfortunate.
You might try JJ's shop. Real friendly.
JJ shop. Does he sell items?
I would spar with you, but this leg, go make some more stories.
Start changing this into a different item, but we lose our crit if we do that, which is unfortunate. Look, all I'm saying is word on the block, and you didn't hear it from me. JJ sells items, bro. JJ sells items. But you ain't hear from me. You ain't hear from me. When you burn, charge a shield item. When you burn, hasten item. Yeah, I'll haste some other things. That's fine. All right. So hopefully we can bonk quick enough that we don't get absolutely destroyed. Oh, he got a miss. We're good, boys. We're safe. That could have ended up really bad. That could have ended up terrible, actually.
Not all my subjects survive my experiments. Closer and closer.
Okay.
Here, my sisters.
Weapon skills doesn't. It has. I feel like weapon skills has a knife. Was it called? We'll go with weapon skills either way, but.
What if they are too weak?
Let's see here. 5 or fewer now. Not necessarily worry too much about that. Sure, when I crit, we'll just gain more damage now.
Ryokon is proud.
Okay. It's an unfortunate brick.
Buyer's remorse never. Be remorseless.
Interesting. Yeah. Put that there. Right? The same lever. Okay. Alright, what do we got going here? Potions. Oh, we're not necessarily looking for anything particular. We're just trying to refresh this potion into something useful for us. And we are building a house because we are bricking.
Ultimate secret. Will you get me any closer?
Alright, let's see if this dually can hold on long enough. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's a big, I'm guessing 100% crit. Oh, 30%er. Yeah. Rest in pepperonis. I knew as soon as we got frozen that was going to happen.
Is it even
It's alright. It happens to the best of us.
easy to catch?
No luck tonight. Unfortunate. Building slow, pivoting too much. Do get our ranked ticket for the next time that I do stream. Can do 2 runs for you guys instead of just 1. Hey, sometimes they ain't say how it is, but it do, you know. So close. Okay. Well, alrighty, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. I do realize it is about 30 minutes early. However, I can't blow through a Bazaar run within 30 minutes. So I do want to thank each and every single one of you guys for coming out and watching. If you're not following, scroll down and hit that follow button. I do stream 3 times a week. I'm not entirely sure if it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm currently in the middle of a schedule change, and I've been testing out streaming later at night. So far, it has been pretty good. We may stick with it, but just depending on how my schedule outside of streaming works. Saturday, I usually have something going on in the morning, so I may not be able to do Friday night. So maybe like Saturday night, perhaps, or something like that. But we will see, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I do have to a little more tinkering in the background for that. But of course, like I said, if you are not following, to scroll down, hit that follow. I do stream 3 times a week, and I do appreciate each and every single one of you guys taking the time out of your schedule to watch and, of course, chat and conversate with each other in the chat. So I do appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming in, and have a great rest of your day. And then Spirit Weasel, what do you do if you're already following? You give yourself a high five, bud, and act like it came from me, because I can't give you one, but if the best I can do is got you, brother bear. You know what I'm saying? Or you can pat yourself on the back. If you want to pat yourself on the back, that works too. And you want to know why, brother bear? Pat yourself on the back because you're doing great in the bazaar, Brother Bear, and you're helping Curio clean it up one piece at a time. Know what I'm saying? But alrighty, guys, I appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your night. Bye.